What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories. 10 MJ Chapter 226 Bullet appears. Teach, you have always had a fatal flaw, that is, you are too arrogant. Although you have been hiding your capabilities and biding your time in the Whitebeard pirates, you have never doubted your own judgment. Whitebeard looked at Blackbeard who was rolling on the ground. He was like looking at a clown. This was the first time he hated a person so much. Whitebeard's big hands grabbed Blackbeard's collar and lifted Blackbeard up directly. Dad, stop it. Do you really want to kill your former son? Blackbeard wailed at Whitebeard. Whitebeard remained unmoved at all. Veins popped out on his arms, and he slammed Blackbeard's head to the ground. Boom. With a loud noise, Blackbeard's head immediately smashed a big crater into the ground, and spiderweb-like cracks continued to split with Blackbeard's head as the center. Blackbeard's head was immediately bleeding. You old guy, can't you die happily? Kill him quickly, Blackbeard yelled at Whitebeard. Blackbeard gave an order, and his men all pulled out their spears and shot at Whitebeard for 15 seconds. Get out of my way. With a flash of lightning, Levi's figure appeared in front of Whitebeard. He didn't want Whitebeard to die in the hands of these weaklings. It would be such a pity. Levi kid, the butcher doesn't need your help. Raihazi glanced at Ji-Wei and said. This old guy is still tough talking, and now Levi feels that this old guy is unexpectedly cute. Whitebeard, this war has not yet reached its peak, you don't want to die now. Levi said looking at the scarred Whitebeard. What do you mean? Whitebeard was stunned. Looking at Levi, it was clear that he knew something, but now Ace is dead, and Whitebeard is almost at the end of his life. Ha 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 ha, Whitebeard, you old guy, why can't you die obediently? Blackbeard smiled at Whitebeard. While Whitebeard was talking to Levi, Blackbeard took the opportunity to break free from Whitebeard's restraint and escape. Levi, you kid, you're so small. At this moment, a huge black shadow came behind Levi with terrifying power. Levi seemed to have expected it, and he punched the black shadow behind him with his right arm. Boom! Levi's fist collided heavily with the shadow's fist. The moment their fists clashed, strong winds flew in all directions, making Marineford, which was already in a mess, even more chaotic. This is... Sengoku, Garp and Marine Admiral all had horrified looks in their eyes. Obviously they also knew this dark figure. It's really scary. I didn't expect this monster to appear here. Kizaru said his mantra again, but he obviously didn't mean to make fun of him this time, and his eyes were solemn now. It's actually this monster. Sengoku and Garp were both muttering to themselves. Why is he here, Bullet? After waiting for the wind to dissipate, Marco could see the man clearly. He murmured to the blonde man opposite Levi. He had fought against the Pirate King Roger countless times. As the Pirate King, the left hand of the man in front of him was also Whitebeard. The pirate group caused countless casualties. Naturally, he was deeply impressed by this guy. This guy's strength is extremely terrifying. I'm afraid only monsters like Levi can rival him in the sea now. It seems that I came at the right time. For a monster like Whitebeard, only I, Barrett, can kill him. Bullet laughed at Whitebeard. There was endless confidence in his smile. After he escaped from Impel Down, he started practicing hard on an uninhabited island in the New World. After 10 years, after practicing hard, Barreto was convinced that he was finally invincible. After he saw Sengoku's declaration, he rushed to Marineford. Are you even here to take my head? Whitebeard laughed. Unexpectedly, Bullet was also interested in his head. Whitebeard was also very happy to be remembered by such a powerful enemy. I didn't expect that after I was imprisoned, so many strong men appeared on the sea. I am really excited when I think that I will kill you all today. Bullet smiled at the Shichibukai. I didn't expect this guy to actually show up. Rayleigh saw the strong man on the live broadcast screen on Saboti Archipelago filled with emotion. His eyes were full of memories, and he remembered the days when he and Bullet fought together. That was really an unforgettable time. How arrogant, Bullet. Doflamingo laughed softly. They're the strongest pirates under the 4 emperors, and this is the first time they have seen such a loud pirate. Although they had all heard the legend of Bullet, except for Barak Dar, none of the Shichibukai present had ever fought against Bullet. Bullet. Long time no see. Crocodile also smiled at Bullet. After Barreto left Roger's ship, he became a rookie pirate. At that time, Crocodile had an endless battle with Barreto 377. The victory or defeat was determined, and this made Crocodile famous. Bullet smiled at Crocodile, and then his body suddenly appeared in front of the sand crocodile. As his fist fell, the sand crocodile immediately turned into a handful of quicksand and disappeared. Still so reckless, you guy. Crocodile's figure condensed in the distance. His gloomy face looked at Bullet who had gone away. He also felt heavy in his heart. The current Bullet was too strong, making him feel there was a tremor in my heart. After Bullet punched Crocodile, his figure appeared in front of Doflamingo. Doflamingo was arrogant just now, so Bullet went to him directly. 5 color strings. 5 threads of different colors appeared in Doflamingo's hand. He had been using observation Hawkeye to sense Bullet's movement. When Bullet appeared, he used the thread in his hand to cut towards Bullet's fist. Looking at Doflamingo's movements, the corners of Bullet's mouth curled up again. His fist did not dodge and went directly towards Doflamingo. When Doflamingo's 5-color strings touched the front of Bullet's fist, it was hit by his fist. The wind of the punch was blown away, and Doflamingo received a heavy punch in the abdomen. Chapter 227 The Arrogant Blackbeard. Please collect flowers and review votes. Doflamingo's spiderweb was shattered by Barretto's blow, and his figure was smashed into the ruins in an instant. Bullet didn't even use Hawkeye, he just used physical strength to knock Doflamingo away. This guy is really scary. Hancock's brows furrowed. This was the first time she had seen a guy who could cultivate his body to such an extent. It seemed that this guy was so arrogant for a reason. When Bullet crossed the sea, Hancock had not yet left Nine Snake Island. While Hancock was thinking, Bullet's figure appeared in front of the bear. He actually shattered the laser that came out of the bear's mouth. When his fist was about to hit the bear, a huge one appeared in front of the bear. Meatball. Bullet knocked the bear away with one punch, but the bear was not injured at all. 7 warlords of the sea, nothing more. Bullet burst out laughing in the audience. His laughter was so arrogant. This is Bullet, the descendant of the devil. Marine recognized this man, and they remembered how terrifying this man was. In order to capture him, Marine used 2 buster calls to finally drain him of his physical strength. It's over, this guy is back now, and he's even stronger than he was then. Because of Bullet's disturbance, the entire battlefield is now in chaos. The Marine Admirals launched an attack on the Shichibukai and the pirates at the same time. The Shichibukai also began to fight back. The most spectacular scene appeared in Marineford, the most active battle on the entire sea. Nearly half of the peak combat power appeared here. This is the fight I want. Levi also laughed. He had been invincible for too long. Now with so many strong men fighting together, he felt the long-lost passion. As he fought with all his strength, the scope of the entire battlefield became larger and larger. At this moment, the expressions of all the combatants changed drastically at the same time, and they all felt the aura of Whitebeard begin to disappear. Levi looked in shock. Now Whitebeard had been beaten to death by Blackbeard, and his body was still standing. Dad. Marco and others had already burst into tears. Their father refused to let them participate in the war. They watched Whitebeard being beaten to death. Their heartache was simply indescribable. People all over the world looked at this scene in horror. Everyone witnessed this scene with their own eyes. Whitebeard Edward Newgate, known as the strongest man in the world, fell in Marineford. Dad. Some pirates wanted to snatch Whitebeard's body back, but they were held back by other pirates. Now let's start my performance. Blackbeard gave a weird smile, and then he covered Whitebeard's body with a black cloth. What do they want to do? Marco looked very angry. He did not expect that after Whitebeard died, he would have to accept the humiliation of Blackbeard. At this moment, Blackbeard got into the black cloth, and then Blackbeard's subordinates all had pervert smiles on their faces. Obviously they were also looking forward to this scene. After a while, Blackbeard's figure emerged from under the black cloth, and he burst out laughing as soon as he came out. Ha ha ha, thief, let me show you my new power, the secret path. Blackbeard let out a loud shout, then slapped his hand on the ground, and a trail of darkness spread out in all directions with Blackbeard as the center. Then, Blackbeard made a gesture that made everyone stunned. A white ball of light appeared above his fist, and then the air shattered like air. How can it be? That's Shockfruit's ability. Why does Blackbeard still use it? This was the first time Sengoku encountered such a situation. He was stunned for a moment. It was the first time he saw such a situation. A person could actually use it. Gain the bonus of 2 devil fruit abilities. A person can only eat 1 devil fruit, and if he eats more, he will be fried to death, but Blackbeard broke this iron rule today. Blackbeard raised his hands, and there was a burst of uncontrollable ecstasy on his face. While his left hand was emitting black smoke, his right hand was also emitting a white halo. The 2 abilities complemented each other, and the people fighting were also shocked and speechless. Ha 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 ha, the power of darkness that can devour everything, and the power of shock that destroys everything. My plan is finally completed. I will become the king of the mind world. Blackbeard laughed wildly. He had been dormant on Whitebeard's ship for so many years, and he finally got everything he wanted. Get out of the way, don't block the road, in the way. At this moment, the battle group of Levi and others came towards Blackbeard, and he was beaten several times in an instant. By the time the battle group left, Blackbeard was already lying on the ground with a bruised nose and face. You damn guys, I'm going to kill you all. Blackbeard got up from the ground angrily, and then the rich dark energy and concussive power in his hand went towards the battle group. No, this idiot Blackbeard got into big trouble. Sengoku's expression was ugly. Sure enough, after Blackbeard's attack was added, everyone lost control in an instant, and everyone went berserk. Doflamingo's surroundings became a world of white lines, Hancock's surroundings became a world of stone, Levi's surroundings were filled with lightning, Aokiji's surroundings were already a world of ice, and Akainu's surroundings turned into a field of lava. Everyone has activated Devil Fruit ability Awakening. The whole Marineford has become a mess. Damn Blackbeard, Nanos, look at what you did. At this moment, Sengoku's whole body became golden, and a huge shockwave enveloped the entire Blackbeard pirates. This was Sengoku's move. This was Sengoku's full blow. Under this blow, the entire Blackbeard pirates fell to the ground and remained motionless. Now the Whitebeard pirates and Levi's ship group are all withdrawing away from Marineford. Akainu is watching the pirates retreat, but they have no way to do anything about it. Blackbeard got up again, and his hands sent out a huge shockwave. Everything in Marineford began to crack. I am afraid that after this battle, the entire Marineford will not be able to be used again. Ha ha ha, this ability is so cool. Blackbeard's hands kept sending out waves of shockwaves, so the Marines kept staggering around. Chapter 228. Levi shows off his power, Blackbeard dies, Shiryu dies, please subscribe. This guy Teach is really too arrogant. Levi frowned and looked at the arrogant Blackbeard and couldn't help but feel disgusted. This guy really relied too much on devil fruit. He thought that devil fruit was everything, but he didn't expect that he is truly strong only if he is strong. Devil fruit has always been a support. Levi, I still remember the humiliation in the Drum Kingdom last time. Let's fight again. Blackbeard laughed wildly, and a light called ambition flashed in his eyes at this moment. Okay, Blackbeard, as you wish. Levi turned into a thunder and escaped from the battle circle. He did not expect that Blackbeard with shock fruit would actually expand to this extent. Among those now fighting, Gecko Moria of Shichibukai was defeated, and he was taken away by his subordinate Absalom. Look at my shockwave. Blackbeard laughed wildly and released shock fruit's crack at Levi. In his feeling, shock fruit's attack was invincible. Shock fruit's crack was gradually approaching Levi. Blackbeard wanted to see Levi's panicked expression. But he was 810 disappointed. Levi's expression was as calm as ever. Blackbeard, remember, devil fruit only plays a supporting role for the truly strong. You have already put the cart before the horse. This is why you will never be the strongest. Your path has gone astray. Levi yelled at Blackbeard, and at the same time, a scene that made Blackbeard stunned appeared. As Levi's 7-star sword was unsheathed, he slashed at Blackbeard's shockwave. This slash was so brilliant that even Whitebeard's shock fruit could not stop it. Ah, it hurts me so much. Levi's sword wave passed by Blackbeard's body, and Blackbeard was rolling in pain. If the shock fruit hadn't distorted the space just now, that blow would have killed him. Such a level of slashing. Hawkeye was also shocked by this blow. Hawkeye had never fought with Levi. In his feeling, Levi's devil fruit ability and physical skills were terrifyingly strong. The sword was just an embellishment. He didn't expect that Levi's slashes were so powerful that he even trembled. Now he had a new opponent. Enough, Blackbeard. Levi's fist hit Blackbeard hard. Although Blackbeard was struggling to resist, everything about him was so fragile and vulnerable to Levi's fist. Boom. Blackbeard's stomach was directly punched through by Levi. Blackbeard's hands held Levi's arms tightly, and all shock fruit abilities were activated. However, except for shattering Levi's sleeves, Levi's body was completely intact, of injuries. How could this man be so powerful? Everyone was shocked. They originally thought that Levi's strength was on par with Shanks, or even slightly inferior. Otherwise, he and Shanks were pirates at the same time. Shanks had become 4 emperors, but Levi returned to the Grand Line. In addition, the newspaper said that Levi and Shanks had several unknown duels, so they speculated that Levi lost the decisive battle with Shanks, so Levi returned to the Grand Line sadly, but now it seems this is all going terribly wrong. The monster Levi's body has become so powerful that it has exceeded the limit that everyone can understand. With this kind of strength, this guy is a real monster. Everyone sighed in their hearts. Bullet originally thought that his strength was already at the pinnacle of this sea, so he dared to show up here. He wanted to catch all the pirates except Marine, but seeing Levi's physique, his confidence was shaken. Although he did not have a life and death fight with Levi, he knew that his physical skills were now a joke under Levi. Even if there are 10,000 devil fruits, you are still a waste. Levi smiled at Blackbeard and said that because Ace and Hancock fought last time, Levi didn't kill him, and he also wanted to see how strong Blackbeard could be with 2 devil fruits. Now it seems, Blackbeard is still the same Blackbeard. Levi thinks too highly of him. Although he has shocking ambitions, he does not have the ability to match them. This is the root of Blackbeard's death. How can you be so strong? Blackbeard's eyes flashed with incredible light. People in this world generally have strong vitality, and Blackbeard is the best among them. Although he was punched through the stomach by Levi, he did not die immediately. Captain Shiryu of the Rain was the first to react. The thunderstorm in his hand was unsheathed and headed towards Levi. Shiryu had always aimed to surpass Hawkeye. He was also a swordsman. After he saw Levi use such a powerful move, he couldn't help it anymore. You haven't made any progress in so many years. You are really a waste, Shiryu. Levi didn't even look back. The 7-star sword in his hand struck at Shiryu. When Levi's 7-star sword struck down, a line went up to the sky and down. The ground slash appeared in front of Shiryu. Shiryu's pupils shrank suddenly and the hairs all over his body stood up. He felt the crisis of life and death from this slash. This slash was so brilliant that everyone around him was too excited to see it. Where's Shiryu? When the light dissipated, everyone in the Blackbeard pirates were now looking for traces of Shiryu. Now except for the hilt of his sword, Shiryu's entire person had disappeared. This guy is really a monster. Everyone was shocked. Although Shiryu was not the most powerful group of warriors in the sea, if he wanted to kill Shiryu with one move, he would only be seriously injured if Shiryu was on guard. It is impossible for everyone to kill him. Okay, Blackbeard, go on your way with peace of mind. Lightning light emerged from Levi's fist. This light was so dazzling that in the blink of an eye, Blackbeard's trace disappeared from the world. Levi, you are indeed the most terrifying monster in the sea. Sengoku secretly sighed in his heart. When Levi rose, Zhanwo had already predicted that the future world of pirates would belong to Levi's world, and now it has come true. Sengoku didn't expect that after Whitebeard's death, a Levi who was countless times more evil than Whitebeard would immediately arise, and he would be under the attention of the whole world. Chapter 229 Swordsman Duel. Hawkeye defeated. This guy can't stay. The three Akainu admirals all had this thought in their minds. Levi's combat power was obviously much higher than the others. Now Levi's existence is a great threat to Marine's rule. The other Shichibukai had different expressions. Hawkeye looked at Levi with eager eyes, while Hancock's eyes were full of admiration. Levi was indeed her man, he was too powerful. Levi, Swordsman Dracule Mihawk challenges you. Just when everyone was thinking differently, Hawkeye came to Levi. He was a pure swordsman. Now that he saw a swordsman here, how could he endure it? Now he gave Levi a swordsman's salute directly, just like he did to Golden Lion back then. It was here that the Golden Lion, the world's greatest swordsman, lost to Hawkeye in a swordsman duel. Hawkeye became the world's greatest swordsman. Levi was a spectator at that time. Now here again, now Levi is the protagonist. Hawkeye pulled out the black knife from his back, stared at Levi and said, I know your strength is far beyond my imagination, come and fight me. Levi picked up the 7-star sword with a serious face. He knew that Hawkeye was a pure swordsman, and he was also a swordsman who would never give up until he achieved his goal. He is an admirable person, and he decided to use all his strength against Hawkeye to defeat him. Levi made a hand gesture to signal Hawkeye to attack first. Hawkeye held the sword in his right hand. He carefully observed Levi's movements and did not attack directly. Hawkeye slowly raised his black sword. As the black sword was raised, a buzzing sound came from the blade. A slash flew towards Levi quickly. Almost as soon as Hawkeye swung his sword, the slash arrived in front of Levi. What a fast knife! Everyone was shocked by Hawkeye's speed. Hawkeye's speed was too fast. They had never seen Hawkeye use this move before. Among them, Hancock is the most. Levi is her husband. It's not that she doesn't believe in Levi, it's just that the power of Hawkeye is deeply rooted in people's hearts, and she can't help but feel worried. The retreating Whitebeard pirates felt lucky that Hawkeye seemed to have Admiral's strength. If Hawkeye were to use all his strength, without the protection of experts, most of the Whitebeard pirates' captains would probably die in an instant. The 7-star sword in Levi's hand was unsheathed, and the moment he swung the sword, Hawkeye dragged the black knife down from the sky towards him, and the black knife danced into a wheel and cut towards him. The two bodies were intertwined and fighting together. Levi felt that Hawkeye's whole body had turned into a sword at this moment, and sword lights were crisscrossing the space. Hawkeye feels that Levi is very different from ordinary swordsmen. Swordsmen all pursue the ultimate sharpness, and Levi's moves are extreme compression, which explodes when the compression reaches the limit. It was the first time that Hawkeye saw this kind of swordsmanship, and he couldn't help but become even more excited. The whole sky was filled with sword strikes. It was the illusion caused by Hawkeye's extremely fast swing of the sword. The old moves had not yet been fired, but the new ones had already appeared. This is the speed sword style I used before I was 20 years old. I am invincible all over the world. Only 5 people in the world can defeat this move. Hawkeye introduced to Levi. Really? Then I'm interested in giving it a try. Levi waved his right hand very fast, and he also produced slashes around his body like an eagle's eye. The slashes of the two men were shot out like machine gun bullets, and the slashes collided with each other and eventually cancelled each other out. Amazing. Hawkeye praised Levi. You are the 6th person who can break my speed sword style. Come and see my sword skills again. Hawkeye slowly retracted his long sword, and he sighed. Before I was 20 years old, I was called the best swordsman in the world. Therefore, I have always been very proud. When I met the enemy of my life, Red Curs. Shanks is a genius. He can compete with me just by practicing swordsmanship. I didn't accept it, so I spent 3 years in seclusion and learned the skill of swordsmanship. Use ultimate skills to offset the enemy's fighting spirit, and achieve the most glorious victory at the lowest cost. This is the secret of the technique style. Did you defeat Shanks with your sword skills? Levi asked curiously. Levi remembered that the red-haired Shanks had always been equal in strength to Hawkeye, and the two were both teachers and friends. Hawkeye's originally smooth movement suddenly faltered. It seemed that Levi had touched upon his sadness. Please give me flowers, Zero, Hawkeye explained seriously. After I created this genre, Shanks has already lost an arm in East Blue. I will not use my full strength on a disabled person. That is my shame. The two fought together again, and now everyone suddenly realized that their swords were like apprentices who had just entered the sword, and they were no longer as bright as before. Every move they made became extremely slow. The eyes of the two became more and more serious. They all felt that the enemy in front of them was their own kendo enemy. Hawkeye, you also take on my strongest 10 moves. Levi said solemnly with his long sword standing on the ground. The 7-star sword Levi was holding was originally covered with pitch-black armament hockey. At this moment, his hockey slowly faded away, and finally gathered on the blade and turned into an undetectable fine black line. Levi raised the 7-star sword. The moment he raised the 7-star sword, a hole suddenly appeared in the clouds in the sky, and a beam of golden sunlight shone on Levi. At this moment, he was like a god. Hawkeye also laughed, and suddenly his expression became solemn. He raised his black knife over his head with both hands and slashed hard at Levi. A sword mark also appeared on the white clouds in the sky, and Hawkeye's blow seemed to have split the sky in half. The two actually took the same action. When Hawkeye slashed down, Levi also slashed down due to the traction of chi. When the two slashes collided, a dazzling light made people unable to look at it. At the same time, a strong wind was generated at the center of the attack, and the entire Marineford ruins were blown away like pieces of paper, as were some of the Marines with low cultivation levels. When everything fell to the ground, the entire sea returned to calm, as if nothing had happened, and the battle just now seemed to be an illusion. Levi and Hawkeye were still standing face to face, just like before. The eagle's eyes were fixed on his black knife. There were very minor damages on his blade. I lost. The world's best swordsman is yours. Hawkeye unsheathed his sword and turned around to leave the group without hesitation. Chapter 230. Excited Bullet. Please subscribe. Let me get rid of these annoying flies first. Levi looked at Blackbeard's subordinates who were running away. The corners of his mouth outlined a cruel arc, and then each of his slashes could take away one of Blackbeard's subordinates. Blackbeard's men originally thought that their escape from eternal hell would be the first step in their rise again, but they did not expect to encounter such a ruthless man. The Blackbeard pirates neither belong to Marine nor to pirates, so they all sit back and watch as the Blackbeard pirates are destroyed. The Blackbeard pirates may be the shortest-lived pirate group in history. They have only arrived in Marineford less than halfway. The group was wiped out in just a few hours, and all of Blackbeard's ideals and ambitions were out of the question. This Levi is too strong. Watching the members of the arrogant Blackbeard pirate group, 190, fall one by one, people watching the live broadcast felt their legs were shaking constantly. These pirates all ran out from the 6th floor of Impel Down. The most vicious criminals, there are even many legends about them in the sea now. But now that they have fallen so easily, Levi looks more like a villain. Okay, the flies are cleared, let's continue. After Levi killed everyone, he turned to look at the Marines again. This guy, I'm afraid he's stronger than rocks back then. Garp frowned. Although he once chased 3 men who were pirate kings on the sea, he had never seen anyone as strong as Levi. The enemy, Levi's pinch power has surpassed their imagination, and this is an all-round transcendence, not only conquerors hockey, his swordsmanship, physical skills are all-round beyond everyone on this sea. There once was a lonely and powerful man on the sea. He was said to be able to fight against the entire Roger pirates and the Golden Lion pirates on his own. Although his physical skills were said to be the strongest in the world. But this guy was still exhausted by Marines' human sea tactics. The same was true for Bullet back then. Although Garp also wanted to use this tactic, for some reason, he always felt that it was a useless effort. This man is too scary. He is stronger than Kaido. Doflamingo looked at Levi, who was obsessed with him. He already had the intention to give up. He and Marine were in a cooperative relationship and he could not afford to do his best for Marine. Everyone, let the war continue. Now Levi showed his strength. He had not been able to make a strong move for a long time. Now that his whole body's aura was mobilized, the clouds in the sky were shaken in an instant. Thunderclouds gathered in the sky, and thunder flashed continuously in the sky, making Levi even more terrifying. Ha ha ha, Levi, you are such a good opponent. Bullet laughed. Since the death of Roger, the Pirate King, he has lost his goal, so he has a lot of power, but he doesn't know how to vent it, so he challenges famous pirates everywhere on the sea. In the end, he was finally blocked by the Marines. After an all-out attack by the Vice Admirals, he was finally caught in the Impel Down due to exhaustion of physical strength. After seeing Levi so strong, he felt that his life had a direction instantly. Propulsion, merge. Bullet let out a long laugh, and then the submarine he was riding on covered his body like running water. After that, all Marines felt that the entire Marineford was shaking continuously. The people watching the live broadcast were shocked to realize that, throughout, Marineford's earth and rocks continued to gather in the direction of Bullet, and a beast that looked like a collection of earth and rocks continued to grow in size. Stop him quickly. Sengoku's eyes widened suddenly, and he remembered the battle against Bullet again. Bullet is a Paramecia fusion fruit user. All the battleships that Marine went to encircle and suppress were fused by Bullet, and under Bullet's men, they brought Marines the horrific casualties were the reason why Bullet formed an army by himself. The weapons on the entire battlefield now are much stronger than those back then. In order to cope with the attack of the Whitebeard pirates, Marine deployed countless artillery arrays in Marineford this time. Now these cannons have been integrated into Bullet's body. If this guy is allowed to develop like this, the consequences may be disastrous. Marines, all retreat. Crane Vice Admiral said seriously to the Marines who were still standing here. She recalled the scene when the Golden Lion made a big fuss in Marineford. In that battle, the Golden Lion and Levi fought back to the death. Under this, the entire marine suffered heavy casualties. The current scene is so similar to that of the past. Now it is a battle among the top marines. The marines can no longer interfere at all. Before the end of this war, the marines will no longer be able to launch effective attacks. Okay, now we can only watch the battle between marines top brass. He took another look at the current lineup. Currently, marines' effective combat power is only Marine 3 Admiral, as well as Sengoku and Garp. Among the Shichibukai, Hancock will definitely rebel. After all, she is Levi's wife. Doflamingo has always been cunning, and this guy is also a giant in the underground world. He will definitely not do anything to offend Marine, because he will not gain anything. Moria escaped, Hawkeye was defeated, Doflamingo paddled, Jinbei and Crocodile had rebelled, and the entire Shichibukai system had ceased to exist in name only. 8-foot Go Chongyu. Kizaru's eyes were constantly shining, and golden light spots were covering Bullet like a heavy rain. I won't let you interfere with him. 4.3 Levi laughed, and then the lightning on his fist shone, and a waterfall of lightning came from the sky, and Kizaru's golden flash was all offset. When Kizaru's golden flash was blocked, countless ice spears appeared behind him. These ice spears not only had strong penetrating power, but also had extremely low temperatures. Levi's lightning waterfall had been frozen in the blink of an eye. Layer of ice shell. Lei Wa Ri. As Levi's thoughts moved, the waterfall falling from the sky began to rotate crazily. With the movement of thunder and lightning, the temperature of the entire chop suddenly became higher. Then Aokiji's ice instantly collided with the thunder and lightning. It turned into streams of steam. The entire battlefield turned into a fog. Chapter 231 Bullet dies. Please subscribe. Ouch. With a long roar, the entire Marineford has turned into a big pit, and a huge beast with a height of 1,000 meters appeared in front of everyone, with armament hockey flowing all over its body, looking extraordinary. I am invincible now. Who can stop me? Bullet laughed wildly. He had never felt so powerful in front of him today, and there were so many powerful opponents waiting for him to destroy. Levi, take a punch from me, as Bullet roared. A fist as big as a hill hit Levi. The punch was extremely fast, and accompanied by a strong wind, the sky above Levi's head darkened. Honey, be careful. Hancock's expression changed drastically. She could feel the strong wind on Bullet's fist. His huge body gave him unparalleled strength, but his speed did not change at all, which was a bit scary. Boom. Bullet's fist hit Levi's head, and the entire Marineford was instantly filled with smoke and dust. Has Bullet's strength reached this point? The third Admiral felt awestruck. When Bullet hit the ground, the entire ground did not tremble at all. This showed that Bullet's power had reached its peak. How can it be? Bullet was shocked. He had no way to control his power, but when his fist hit Levi, he felt his fist stagnant. No matter how hard he tried, his fist would not move at all. Bullet, is this all you can do? Levi's voice came from under his fist, and then he felt his fist being pushed up by an irresistible force, and then his body was pushed out of balance. His mountain-like body was pushed down in an instant. With a loud noise, the entire sea was thrown into waves. They are all a group of monsters. As the battle between Levi and Bullet became more and more powerful, all the people watching the live broadcast felt that their legs were shaking non-stop. The two monsters in front of them had the power to rise up. Use power. This is the real country-destroying level of power. I am afraid that no country can survive their battle for half an hour. How is this possible? Bullet still can't believe that he was defeated by Levi like this. He has obviously used his strongest strength. According to the normal plot, shouldn't Levi be severely injured by him? Now Bullet feels that this is not the case. Levi's limit, he is stronger than this. Bullet, although your size has become larger and your strength has become stronger, your hockey has also become dispersed. This is useful for low-level opponents, but it is just a target for opponents of the same level. Do you think we won't have become huge? Levi sneered at Bullet. Thunder God's body, Doctor. With Levi's loud shout, the thunder from the entire sky gathered here. From a distance, Marineford had another sun, and with the incandescence, everyone could no longer see the live broadcast. Sabo de Archipelago is closest to Marineford, and they can all see a burst of white light in the direction of Marineford. When the white light dissipated, everyone was shocked to find that a giant appeared again in the direction of Marineford. It was a perfect body made entirely of thunder and lightning. It looked so perfect no matter where you looked. Akainu, Kizaru, Aokiji, now is not the time to hide your clumsiness, let that Marine and the whole world see how powerful Marine is. Sengoku yelled at the three admirals. Now that the power of Levi and Bullet has frightened the people, Marine must use their powerful power to once again build people's confidence. Amaterasu. Kizaru's hands formed a circle, and countless sun rays gathered on his fingertips. After that, the entire Marineford felt dim, and only the place where Kizaru was lit. It's amazing, it actually absorbed all the light sources in the sky. All the people looked up at the sky, and the whole world felt as if it had entered dusk. Kizaru Admiral, Kizaru Admiral. The people shouted excitedly. At this moment, Aokiji's figure appeared on the sea. After the entire sea was frozen again, 10 giant Aokiji, 1,000 meters high, came to Marineford. Aokiji Admiral. Aokiji Admiral. The people's shouts have become more fervent than ever. Marine is their protective umbrella, and now for the first time, they have seen the highest combat power in the entire sea. Hey ha! Akainu slammed his fist into the ground. Then, with this fist as the center, the entire ground spread out in all directions like a river of magma. After that, the ground slowly rose, and the magma giant stood up from the ground. Let the pirates see your power. The people cheered. Now it was 3 against 2, and Marine had a great chance of winning. How could this happen? Bullet looked at the 4 huge 957s with different shapes in front of him blankly. He always thought that this huge form was unique to him. Now that he saw the 3 Admiral and Levi, he knew that they were how wrong it is. Yes, I lost from the beginning, Captain Roger. Bullet thought of his Captain Roger again, and he kept working hard with Roger as his imaginary enemy, but he forgot that Roger was just relying on his innocence. His physique and swordsmanship have reached that level of strength, and now his huge form is no match for Roger. He has unknowingly gone astray. It's all your fault. I'm going to kill you. Bullet's mentality collapsed, and he began to attack the 4 people at the same time. Without his rationality, his threat came from Tish. Now he is just relying on beast-like instincts to fight. He looked completely fearless of death. Although Bullet was very strong, he couldn't please the 3 Admirals and Levi at all. His huge body began to disintegrate under their battle, and in the end, only the body of his submarine was left. Your journey ends here, Bullet. Akainu's fist was covered with lava, and as his fist fell, Bullet's submarine exploded. The left hand of the Pirate King, Bullet, the descendant of the devil, has fallen. Chapter 232 The Combat Power at the Top of the Sea. Please subscribe. Bullet is dead. This beast-like man is dead. The whole world saw Bullet die. This great pirate who was famous in the sea was the first to fall in this peak battle. Damn red hair, damn Levi, you didn't even call me in such a big war. Kaido cried very sadly. After he was expelled by Levi in Wano-kuni, he had been trying to find trouble with Levi, but Levi's subordinates grew up too fast. After the blind man smiled and summoned a meteorite, he defeated Kaido's pirate group. This was not over yet. The red-haired fleet also surrounded Kaido from behind, causing Kaido to be defeated again. This war is much more ambitious than the Golden Lion's invasion of Marineford alone. The most powerful combat forces in the entire sea have already taken action. Bullet's empty fruit has awakened. This is the first devil fruit to die in Marineford. Those with awakened abilities. And Kaido also expected that this was not the only master who would die. When he thought of this, he no longer cared about these defeated men, and he turned into a dragon and headed towards Marineford. Kaido-sama. Jin took one look at these dilapidated pirate ships, and then he turned into a flaming pterosaur and followed Kaido. The old guy Whitebeard is finally dead. Children, come with me to invade the territory left by Whitebeard. Big Mom laughed happily, and then she boarded the ship she had not sailed for a long time and headed towards Whitebeard's territory. Levi, you have no chance of winning. Surrender obediently, Sengoku shouted to Levi. Although the entire Marineford war had twists and turns, Marine's strategy had been completed. Ace, the descendant of the Pirate King, and 4 emperors Whitebeard both died in this war. In the New World, one of the 4 sea emperors will be gone, and the entire New World will be at war because of the territory vacated by Whitebeard. Marine will also have the opportunity to recruit troops from all over the world again, and Marine can even regain control of the New World. But all of this can only be implemented after defeating Levi. It was because of this man that Marine lost a large number of elite Marines in the battle between Golden Lion and Marineford. Now as long as this man is captured, the entire war will be over. Hancock, you retreat first. I will use all my strength in the next battle. I can no longer protect you. Levi said to Hancock solemnly. Although Levi was confident that he would not be defeated by Marine, he was afraid that Sengoku would threaten him with Hancock, so he asked Hancock to retreat first. Hancock's eyes were full of worry. She thought she could help Levi, but now she found that there was nothing she could do. When Hancock left, the entire Marineford seemed to fall into a mythical world. The entire Marineford turned into a world of ice and snow for a while, and then turned into a world of lava. Soon it became the world of thunder again. This is Marine 3, Admiral and Levi fighting for control of the world. All the live broadcast bugs have been frozen to death, and the whole world can no longer see the scene of Marineford. What happened? Who won? Everyone is waiting for the answer. This is a battle that determines the fate of the world. If Marine wins, Marine will be able to completely end the era of great pirates started by One Piece Roger. If Levi wins, then the whole world will usher in the most turbulent era, and it will be a feast for pirates. How can this guy be so strong? Now that Marine's troops have all evacuated Marineford along with Crane, the current war is no longer something they can participate in. Vice Admiral Crane looked at the scene in front of her and felt deeply powerless. She recalled the scene of the war more than 10 years ago. At that time, Golden Lion was the one who had awakened the Devil Fruit ability, and Aokiji and others were not as strong as they are now. The current war is almost the same as the war back then, except that this war is countless times more violent than the previous one. All Marines, stay back. Looking at the warship destroyed by a huge magma bomb next to him, Crane Vice Admiral ordered all Marines to stay away from Marineford again. Sister, what should we do? Sandersonia asked Hancock. Now the aftermath of the battle with Malinfan also makes them tremble. The power of these monsters is beyond their imagination, and the aftermath of the battle can also be done. Destroy them all. You lead people back to Nine Snakes Island. I will live and die with Levi. Hancock's eyes were full of determination. Levi was a beam of light in her life. If Levi died, her life would be dark. Hancock no longer feels the value of living. Listen, if I am still alive after you go back, then you will bring all the soldiers of Nine Snakes to support us. Hancock made an extremely crazy decision. Okay, we get it, sister, all the guards replied loudly. Hancock is the Emperor of Nine Snakes, and her words are the highest order of the entire Nine Snakes. He is also a miserable person. Crane Vice Admiral looked at Hancock standing on a small boat and sighed. Now that Nine Snakes' big ship has gone to Nine Snakes Island, Hancock is now dressed up and becomes even more beautiful. Hancock is even more beautiful now than before. What an enviable love. Momosagi's eyes flashed with envy. I wish to win the heart of one person and never be separated. This has always been the love that Momosagi has longed for, and she once doubted whether this kind of love really existed, but now seeing Hancock in a costume, Momosagi knew that she had seen that kind of love. This guy Levi is really lucky to be able to marry such a beautiful wife. Jumping Rabbit's eyes recalled the scene when he saw Levi for the first time. At that time, Momosagi secretly set fire to the auction house in order to sabotage Heavenly Yaksha Doflamingo's gold fruit auction, intending to steal the gold fruit in the chaos, but she did not expect that she would also encounter Levi who set the fire. At that time, Levi was still a new pirate who had just gone to sea. After a battle, Levi escaped with the gold fruit. Later, Momosagi found out that the gold fruit was a gift from Levi to Levi's subordinates. At that time, Momosagi felt that Levi's courage was really amazing. As long as he didn't die midway, he would become a great pirate. But Momosagi also didn't expect that Levi's strength would grow so fast and be so strong. Look, what is that? Following the Admiral of the Marine Vice Admiral, everyone looked in the direction he pointed, and then everyone's pupils tightened. Chapter 233 The Arrival of Red Hair Pirates. Please subscribe. This is the red-haired pirate ship of the Four Emperors. Crane Vice Admiral recognized it immediately. The pirates in this world all have their own personalities. No matter how strong or weak they are, none of them have the same flag or bow collision. Kakuzu. How did the red hair come here? Momosagi also exclaimed. Hongfa is the last of the Four Emperors of Jinshi. Although his territory is the smallest among the Four Emperors, and his power is also the smallest among the Four Emperors, no one dares to underestimate him, because all the red-haired Shanks the only combat power is the small boat in front of me. This is a monster at the same time as Levi. This guy's strength is also unfathomable. But didn't this guy fight Shanks in Marivando? Why did this guy come here? A marine wanted to get closer and intercept the red-haired Shanks, but before the warship could get close, they were exploded by the red hair pirates. Crane Vice Admiral then remembered that the red hair pirates are the most special pirate group in the entire sea. None of them have demon fruit power, and they all seem to be gunmen. Damn it, you are so underestimating people. Momosagi's silver teeth were critical, and then the famous sword on her waist was unsheathed, and a brilliant slash was directed towards the red-haired ship. Now Marine's top combat power is in Marineford, as Admiral the substitute Momosagi is the highest combat power here. For Marine's 887 glory, she would never allow a pirate to pass in front of them so arrogantly. Although she knew that she was not the red-haired opponent and she might die, for the faith in her heart, she still faced the red-haired man without hesitation. Leave by boat. Momosagi, wait for me. Behind Momosagi, a marine with squinting eyes followed Momosagi and flew towards the red-haired ship. He was also Marine's replacement for Admiral. Artillery support. Crane Vice Admiral's eyes were fixed on Momosagi's back, and then she shouted at Marine. The entire Marine warship fired thousands of cannons at the red hair pirates, but all the cannonballs were exploded by the red hair pirates. Not a single cannonball could land on the red hair pirates' ship. Is this the red hair pirates? It's so scary, he could see more. Although Marine's artillery attack was fierce, everyone in the red hair pirates looked relaxed. It was obvious that they were not using their full strength. Boss, she is a beauty. The pirates laughed strangely, and some even whistled. Momosagi Vice Admiral, I've admired him for a long time, BFBH, but I'm here to stop this war. The redhead smiled at Momosagi. The redhead now smiles like the uncle next door, not the feared Four Emperors. Stop joking, I won't let you pass at all, Momosagi said to the red hair. She would not believe a pirate's words at all. After that, Momosagi stopped talking nonsense to Shanks and headed directly towards Shanks with the long sword in her hand. Come on, boss, don't let this little girl defeat you. When the pirates of the red hair pirates saw Momosagi attacking Shanks, they didn't help but kept cheering. Momosagi, let me help you. Seeing Momosagi and the red-haired man fighting each other, the T-Dolphin couldn't help but become a little anxious. Don't move, I'll beat you to death. Behind the T-Dolphin, a fat man with a big meat elbow in his mouth pointed a gun at the T-Dolphin's head. Damn it, when T-Dolphin's forehead silently shed a drop of cold sweat, he didn't even notice how the fat man moved. When the T-Dolphin was pointed at by Lakilu with a pistol, Momosagi was also subdued by the red hair. The disparity in their strength was too great, and it could not be changed by passion. Because both Momoshagi and the T-Dolphins were subdued by the red-hair pirates, the Marines did not dare to fire any more cannonballs. They could only watch the red-haired ship swaggering towards Marine Fan. And go. Levi, survive a bite. Watching the red-hair pirates heading towards Marineford, Hancock's hands were tightly twisted together. Now that a new force has joined Marineford, he doesn't know how this will affect the entire situation. What impact? The people fighting had no idea about the arrival of the red-haired man. Now they were all focused on the battle, and no one dared to be distracted. Now Levi is fighting 5 people alone, and he is not tired at all, and he is not falling behind at all. According to Sengoku's estimation, although Levi is powerful, his power is limited. Under the siege of 5 of Marine's top masters, Levi will fall like a bullet. But Levi is so powerful that he seems to be inhuman. This guy's physical skills have been developed to an unprecedented state. Now his body is much more powerful than Kaido and Charlotte Linlin, and Kaido and Charlotte Linlin are either because of the devil fruit or because of the devil fruit. It's natural, but Levi is the result of his own cultivation, which has to be shocking. 0. Garp now feels a dull pain in his fist. Compared with Levi's fist, his fist is fragile and vulnerable. Garp seems to have returned to the time when he was just practicing and sparring with instructor. Levi's physical skills are even stronger than those of Jiyu Gaohong. Although Sengoku and others are all powerful, they still can't defeat Levi. At this moment, an extremely powerful conqueror's haki came towards Levi and others. Everyone's expressions changed drastically, and they stopped in unison. Now an unknown master suddenly appeared, and they didn't know who it was. Everyone, there is no point in your fighting now. Please give me some face and stop it. Enough people have died in this war, Shanks said loudly. Shanks, this is not your style. Levi looked Shanks up and down, as if he was meeting Shanks for the first time. It is really the most ridiculous thing in the world for a pirate leader to pity ordinary people on the sea. Among the speculations about the original plot of One Piece, Shanks is an undercover agent of celestial dragons among the pirates, and Shanks' actions are inconsistent with the character of a pirate, but all of this has nothing to do with Levi. How is that possible? Marine can't compromise with pirates. Akainu looked at Shanks and snorted. Shanks, don't say these useless things. If you can, beat me to death. Then this battle is over. Let me see how much you have improved over the years. Levi's 7-star sword pointed at Shanks, and he made a powerful move. The sword intent made Shanks' expression change drastically. In this case, I have no choice but to take action, Shanks said solemnly. Chapter 234 Aokiji and Akainu die, please subscribe. Levi's strength has exceeded Shanks' imagination. He did not expect that Levi would have such tyrannical strength. They had not seen each other for more than 10 years, but Levi had cultivated to such a tyrannical level. This pirate's swordsmanship is actually stronger than Hawkeye's. Sengoku and others felt awestruck. Although they knew that Shanks' swordsmanship was very strong, this was the first time they saw Shanks' swordsmanship. Shanks' swordsmanship is extremely sharp. Everyone thought that after Shanks lost an arm in East Blue, his strength had been greatly reduced, so Hawkeye stopped challenging him for duels. Now when Shanks takes action, they realize that Shanks' strength is so unfathomable. Although not as good as Levi, he is much more powerful than one of them, Admiral. The entire Marineford was sunk by these people, and the symbol of Marine's honor never existed again. Ice Age. Aokiji's body turned into a cold current and headed towards Levi's body. Now Levi's movements were too fast and his movements must be restricted. How is this possible? Aokiji looked at the 7-star sword passing through his body in shock. He was already in the elemental state. Even armament haki could not help him now, but he was killed by Levi. A sword pierced through. Aokiji, go in peace. Levi chuckled lightly, and then shook the 7-star sword in his hand, and Aokiji's body was shaken into blood foam and disappeared, leaving no trace of his body. Thumbs up. Garp roared. Among the 3 admirals, he had the best relationship with Aokiji, and Aokiji also admired him the most, but now Aokiji died so easily in front of him. Garp's whole body was full of energy and blood, and he began to attack Levi without fear of death, but Levi was not afraid at all, and he also started a tit-for-tat battle with Garp. Because of the lack of Aokiji's precious combat power, the pressure on the others has increased greatly. They are secretly complaining in their hearts. Now that the first casualty has appeared among them, they don't know who is the second. What a bunch of annoying flies. Levi's brows furrowed. On Shanks' ship, Shanks' crewmen kept shooting at Levi. These guys' marksmanship was extremely accurate, and their bullets were also attached to the extremely powerful armament haki. With Levi's current he could feel a little itchy all over his body. Levi flicked out a finger, and there was a huge thunder. Before anyone could react, Shanks' pirate ship had been blown to pieces, and he didn't know how many of his crew members would survive. Levi, you deserve to die. Shanks watched the brothers who had been with him day and night all die in Levi's hands in an instant. He had never felt so angry before. His conqueror's haki was nearly 50% stronger, even on the entire sea. There were big waves, but it was as if the weather had changed because of Shanks' anger. I've never seen this kind of conqueror's haki. Sengoku's eyes were fixed on Shanks. This family was really hidden. If his crew hadn't been killed by Levi, they might not have known about it. Shanks' true strength. That's it, Shanks. This is the real you, I don't know what you are hiding. Levi was stimulating Shanks while fighting with him. This is the first time Levi has shown the results of his training. This is Levi's most exciting battle. Although there are rumors that Levi killed Shanks, he doesn't care about anything now. Levi's strength has surpassed this world so much, and he no longer needs to settle. He will challenge the 5 elders and I am after this battle, and he doesn't know what level Im's strength has reached. With Thunder Fruit constantly providing a steady stream of energy, Levi's attack intensity has never changed, but Sengoku and others can no longer hold on. Why me? Kizaru looked at the sword light in front of him in disbelief. Although he was extremely fast, he still could not avoid Levi's sword. Because you are too wretched, that's it. Levi thought for a while, and then he solemnly explained to Kizaru. Before Kizaru spit out the old blood, he was shattered by Levi's 7-star sword. The way he died was exactly the same as Aokiji. He never thought until his death that he would die because of his appearance. As Kizaru died, Levi tilted his head slightly, allowing him to pass Shanks' slash. Although Shanks' slash was powerful, everything about him became extremely slow under Levi's god-level reaction. Please give me flowers, almost, Shanks. Levi smiled at Shanks, and then he slashed at Shanks' griffin with the 7-star sword in his hand. Shanks only felt a sharp pain in his arm, as if the arm was no longer his. If Griffin hadn't had gauntlets, Griffin would have lost his hand and fallen into the sea. Levi was about to kill Shanks when Garp's fist came in front of Levi. Levi's right fist hit Garp's fist. As Levi's fist swung down, Garp's body crashed into the sea like a meteor. A huge wave arose. Buddha's shockwave. Sengoku's glasses flashed, and he finally caught the moment Levi stopped, and an unprecedented shockwave came towards Levi. As soon as Levi knocked Garp away, Sengoku's shockwave had already arrived in front of Levi. Levi could no longer dodge, he had his arms crossed in front of him. After that, he was hit by Sengoku's shockwave and flew away into the sky. Although Garp's shockwave was very tyrannical, Levi's physique was too heaven-defying, and his sleeves were only torn. Looking at the white clouds in front of him, Levi remembered a classic scene in the movie. Then he became playful and struck down with a huge palm made entirely of thunder. Buddha's palm. As Levi shouted, Sengoku noticed that a huge eagle eye appeared above his head. Before he could react, the huge palm knocked him into the sea. Marshal Sengoku. Akainu let out a loud shout, and he felt an incomparable desolation in his heart. Now he was the only one left with Marine's top combat power, and he still didn't understand what was going on. Anagami Red Lotus. Akainu's whole body was covered with lava, and half of the sky was burned red. Now he no longer expected to kill Levi. He just wanted to leave a wound on Levi, and he would be satisfied even if Levi left a drop of blood. Is this my destiny? Akainu looked at his shoulder, and there was a shining sword blade protruding from his shoulder. Chapter 235 Thunderbolt Mariejois. Levi originally wanted to stab Akainu in the heart, but at the last moment, Akainu seemed to sense Levi's intention and tilted his shoulder. Ha! With Akainu's loud shout, his shoulder and the long sword in Levi's hand were also broken. The sword withstood Levi's violent output, coupled with Akainu's force, the entire 7-star sword was broken into 2 sections. The severed sword and Akainu's severed arm fell toward the sea. So be it. Levi also threw the remaining half of the 7-star sword into the sea. Now he was no longer strong enough to use the 7-star sword. After Levi threw away the 7-star sword, he laughed and flew out of Marineford. I kept you waiting, Hancock. Looking at Hancock, who was dressed in fine clothes and drifting on the sea, Levi's heart felt like it was being tugged hard. 107. Just be fine. Hancock showed Levi a thrilling smile, and Levi suddenly felt as if the whole world was lighting up. Hancock snuggled gently into Levi's arms. When she and Levi parted ways in Marineford, she felt that the whole world had lost its color, and now she felt like she was alive again. Let's go, I'll take you to kill the heavenly beings. Levi breathed softly into Hancock's ear. After that, the figures of the 2 people rose into the sky. This was the promise Levi made to Hancock when he and Hancock escaped from Mariejois. Among his crew, Tetsulo wanted wealth. Levi found the golden fruit for him. Now Tezzuro is known as the Golden Emperor. He claims to be the man who controls 30% of the world's Baileys. What Enel wanted was to meet the top strong man on the sea, so Levi took him to fight the 3 admirals, and finally he went to the moon and became the Moon King. Luo wants to avenge Corazon, and now Luo has the strength to fight Doflamingo. Monet wanted to protect her sister's strength, and she wanted a devil fruit, so Levi gave her Logia's devil fruit. Only Baby 5, that silly girl, just wants 98 million belly to pay off her debt. Yishao wants to see world peace, but this goal is too big. I'm afraid Levi still can't achieve it. Even Levi might become his enemy. It is such a prosperous place. There are too many evils hidden in this prosperous place. Let me end it. Levi looked at the prosperous scene in front of him from a high altitude and murmured to himself. Hancock looked at Levi with fascinated eyes. She felt that Levi was really handsome now. Levi stood in the air as if walking on the ground, his eyes looking down with indifference, his left hand holding Hancock, and his right hand straightened. A heavy black cloud enveloped the entire Mariejois. The residents of Mariejois seemed to feel something and they all looked up. This depressing atmosphere? Deep in the world government, 5 gray-haired old men felt something, and they all looked in the direction of Levi at the same time. A thunderball as huge as Mariejois appeared in front of everyone. What is that? Run away. All the people on Mariejois became panicked. Because this is the seat of the world government, it has never experienced the pain of war. Now it was suddenly attacked, and the entire Mariejois was in chaos. After a snow-white slash, the entire huge thunderball was split into 2 halves. It was the old man with the sword among the 5 elders who took action. As expected of the 5 elders, they are really not to be underestimated. Levi laughed, and then Levi gently snapped his fingers. As he snapped his fingers, nearly 1,000 thunderballs that were as huge as before appeared behind him, none of them weaker than the one just now. Now all the thunderballs were covering Mariejois, and the entire sky above Mariejois was covered by lightning. Long before Levi came to Mariejois, he had already expected to encounter the 5 elders. How could he not be prepared for the 5 elders? Some people say that these guys are people who have been subjected to immortality surgery by Op Fruit. They have always been from the world government. The establishment has survived to this day, and no one knows how strong these guys are. No, that's Mariejois. Levi went to attack Mariejois. Crane Vice Admiral's expression changed drastically. She didn't expect Levi to be so bold and dare to go to Mariejois alone. We must find a way to stop him, Sengoku roared. At this moment, Sengoku was no longer as calm as the resourceful general. His hair was messy, even his beard was about to fall out, and his black hair had become white. During the battle with Levi, he had been overdrawing his life force in exchange for the attack power of the Buddha fruit. If Garp hadn't fished him out of the sea in the end, he might have died in the sea. With all due respect, you are powerless to stop Levi. Shanks smiled bitterly. He originally wanted to mediate this war, but he didn't expect that the entire Red Hair Pirates would be involved. Now the entire 4 emperors are gone. Sengoku looked back at the others. Now after this battle, Aokiji and Kizaru died, even Akainu lost an arm, and even Garp, known as the Marine Hero, was defeated by Levi. Detain the red-haired man in the impel-down prison, and at the same time pass on my order. Let's all support Mariejois. Following Sengoku's order, Marine's warships also began to turn around and head towards Mariejois. What are you doing to stop me, 5 elders? Levi laughed wildly. Although his thunderballs were constantly being scattered by the 5 elders, every time the 5 elders were scattered, Levi's thunderballs continued to reorganize. The thunder and lightning of the 5 elders and Levi are constantly approaching Mariejois, and the people in Mariejois are even more frightened. At this moment, Marines wearing 0.1 Marine uniforms gradually began to stabilize the order under the leadership of an old man. This is Marshal Kong. This guy is worthy of being a Marine Marshal. He is really good at managing the army, 10 hands. But since Levi decided to make a big fuss in Mariejois today, how could he let Kong take these celestial dragons away from Mariejois? Blow it up for me. Following Levi's loud shout, streaks of thunder struck Mariejois like twisted thunder snakes. The entire Mariejois suffered the heaviest losses. Countless exquisite buildings were shattered by lightning, and even countless celestial dragons died in this catastrophe. If you dare to hurt celestial dragons, you will be punished. Just then, a loud voice came from Mariejois. Chapter 236 I am and the Revolutionary Army. Is that you, I am? Levi laughed. He felt a huge pressure, which was much more powerful than the Marine Admiral. How do you know me? A faint voice sounded in Levi's ears, and Levi realized that a figure wearing a black robe and a mask appeared in front of him. Since ancient times, I know that there are no more than 5 people in my existence. I am very sure that you are definitely not there. Moreover, I have also investigated you. The CPO has used all its strength to investigate for a year, but there is no trace of you. It is as if you suddenly appeared. It popped up above the sea. Can you tell me why? I am looked at Levi steadily, as if looking at a lifeless statue. His eyes looked through eternity, making Levi feel a burst of pressure. It's a secret. Levi's hand paused, and Hancock obediently stepped on the mooncloth and flew high into the sky. She knew that the celestial dragons in front of her was probably the strongest being in the entire celestial dragons family. IM-15 is worthy of being the strongest boss among the celestial dragons. His hockey, physical skills, and sword skills have all reached an unimaginable level. Chongqing finally met an opponent who can fight him. This had made him even more excited. I didn't expect that there are people in this world who can fight with Lord IM. This Levi is really a monster. He is not even 40 years old yet. Among the 5 elders, the one holding the sword had a trembling voice. He practiced swordsmanship. He originally thought that besides Lord IM, his swordsmanship could be ranked 2nd in the world. Hawkeye is known as the world's greatest swordsman, but in his eyes, Hawkeye's swordsmanship is just interesting. He has no interest in fighting Hawkeye. He can't even remember how many years they have lived. In such a long time, an outstanding young man like Hawkeye would appear every 100 years, but this was the first time he saw a monster like Levi in his long life, which really surprised him. Now Levi actually used his thunder to condense a sword. He and IM are inseparable. He relied on the help of the system to be qualified to reach the top of the world in a short time, but IM had to rely on his own hardships all his life. Shu Kai has the strength he has today. From a certain point of view, both of them are rivals. IM may have made the fruit of eternal life, so he can be forgotten by the long river of time and live to this day. He has practiced hard for nearly 8,000 years, not to mention I am so amazing. A talented person, even an ordinary person, can become a great master after 1,000 years of practice. Sure enough, there is a master after the 5 elders. When Kong was the marshal of the armed forces, he felt that the 5 elders were not the supreme leader. There was a higher being behind the 5 elders. This guy was the real one. Leader of the celestial dragons. Kill that woman. I am pointed at Hancock. If you dare to touch her hair, I will slaughter all the celestial dragons in Mariejois. Levi shouted at I am. He did not expect I am to be so mean. It doesn't matter, anyway, these rubbish are just puppets put out by celestial dragons. I am said with a relaxed look. The elites of celestial dragons are practicing hard in a top secret place. These trash who only know how to eat, drink and have fun are the puppets of celestial dragons. The illusion comes out. Seeing the 5 elders and others approaching rapidly, Levi's power of lightning fruit was also used at its strongest. The powerful thunder drowned everything in Mariejois. The light of these thunders was so powerful that even Saboti Archipelago and Impel Down could see it clearly. Today was a sleepless night for everyone. None of them expected to see this. It seems that the contest between Whitebeard and Marine has ended. When the people of the pirate world thought that their good days had finally arrived, they found that a more terrifying nightmare had arrived. Levi, this short-lived pirate on the sea, actually appeared again, and his strength frightened everyone. Although they did not see the battle between Marine 3 Admiral and Levi, now Levi appears again. Mariejois committed the murder, but none of the Marine Admirals showed up, so they couldn't help but think about it. Haha, the era that belongs to us pirates has finally arrived. Countless pirates were shouting excitedly, and they were all heading towards the nearest island to rob. Now Marines are heading towards Mariejois for reinforcements. This is really a great opportunity for them. The entire world is in the midst of war today. This is the worst of times, and countless residents have become displaced. Who will save us? A gray-haired old man was praying constantly. He had never been as desperate as he is today. Are you just giving in? Young people, pick up your weapons and defend your homeland. A smoking woman waved a battle flag and shouted to the people who were already fleeing. At this moment, the young people who were running away stopped, and boundless courage suddenly emerged in their hearts. They no longer ran away. Now that there were pirates everywhere, where could they run to? Fight these nasty pirates. The residents all picked up the self-defense tools in their hands, and then they were no longer afraid and rushed towards the pirates. D.A. Bursts of gunshots rang out behind the residents, and the grinning pirates fell down in rows. Teams of mysterious people dressed in different styles helped them eliminate this wave of pirates. Thank you, great adults. Who are you? A bold resident asked. These people in front of them were obviously not Marines, but they were not pirates either. We are the Revolutionary Army. The smoking woman carrying the battle flag laughed. Then everyone disappeared into the streets and alleys in an instant. Revolutionary Army. All the residents were shocked. They had been listening to reports from the world government and newspapers. The newspapers said that the Revolutionary Army was a group of people more vicious than pirates, but now what the Revolutionary Army did made these residents confused. This kind of thing is not an isolated case. When the Marines were in trouble, the Revolutionary Army went around to save the residents who were massacred by the sea. For a time, the reputation of the entire Revolutionary Army soared. Countless people who had lost their families and were full of hatred joined the Revolutionary Army. They became radical elements in the Revolutionary Army, and the spark has finally turned into a prairie fire. The vigorous development of the Revolutionary Army will no longer be hindered. Chapter 237 The Magical I Am. Let's go, Sabo, it's time for us to enter the new world. The island of White Earth, Valdigo. Long has never been so excited as he is now. He can feel that his revolutionary cause will be successful. This is the strategy he and Levi set after the meeting. Levi is responsible for containing the top management of Marine, while Long is responsible for liberating the people at the bottom. Even Long didn't expect that Levi would be so radical and his combat power would be so pervert. This is a kind of power that transcends the world. If it weren't for the trump card of I Am in the Celestial Dragons, Levi might have been able to accomplish the great cause of liberating the world by himself. This is the benefit of having extremely powerful force. Once Long Tien really believed that force was not everything, so he created the Revolutionary Army. Now it seems that his vision is still limited to ordinary people. If one blow can destroy the world, then force can do everything. Levi is still fighting against the Celestial Dragons. Although the 5 elders are very strong, Levi is even stronger. He can actually fight alone against the top warriors in the Sea of Wood. Although there are 5 elders who will suddenly break away from the fighting and try to kill Hancock. Hancock is also a Devil Fruit ability awakener, and she is also strong, so the 5 elders cannot defeat her with one blow. Now the entire red line is full of big holes. The once magnificent Mariejois has completely disappeared, and even the red line has been shattered. Hancock, go to the Amazon and wait for me. Levi shouted to Hancock. The current battle was no longer something Hancock could intervene in. On the contrary, her presence gave Levi a weakness. Then you must be careful. Hancock bit her lower lip tightly. She felt that everything today was like a dream. Marineford was gone, and even Mariejois disappeared overnight. Everyone, the battle has just begun, let's continue. Levi laughed wildly, and thunder and lightning surged through his body, making it look as if the god of thunder had descended. The 5 elders looked at each other, and they launched an attack on Levi at the same time. The 5 elders specialize in physical skills, and their physical skills are more powerful than Garp. Imu is waiting for Levi to show a flaw. Once Levi shows a flaw, he will die. Undoubtedly. That's it, have a good fight. Levi's whole body was shaking with excitement. After nearly 10 years, he finally reached the top of the world. Look at my electromagnetic gun. Levi took out a few coins from his pocket, and then the coins flicked toward the 5 elders. Danger. The 5 elders used observation Hawkeye to sense the horror of this blow. They hurriedly ran around to avoid it, and 5 white lights passed over their bodies and hit the ground. Boom. With a violent explosion, the entire land of Mariejois was completely blown apart, and a dazzling golden color appeared in front of everyone. What is that? Kong's eyes were filled with shock. A large pit of nearly a kilometer appeared in front of him. Under the red line, it was all metal. Levi popped out 5 coins and they were all stuck on this huge metal wall. Levi has long felt that there is something under the ground, and now it seems that the celestial dragons indeed have a big secret. I didn't expect you to discover it. That's right, this is Uranus. Imu also laughed. Uranus is the deepest secret of the entire celestial dragons family. Anyone who knows Uranus will die, without exception. Is this Uranus? It looks weird. Levi's observation Hawkeye couldn't even feel how long this metal wall was. Pluton is a huge battleship that can destroy an island with one shot, and Poseidon is Shirahoshi who can command all sea kings. Now Uranus has also appeared, and it is unknown what Uranus's ability is. Is this Uranus? Kong's heart was filled with shock. Uranus is the foundation of the celestial dragons family, and it is precisely because of its existence that the celestial dragons can firmly sit on the throne of the king of the world. As marshal of the army, Kong also came into contact with some secrets about Uranus, but the more he learned, the scarier he felt. So even though he has a hard time with these guys sometimes, even Garp doesn't understand him, he's just so hard. Do you think that Uranus alone can save the celestial dragons? You are so naive, you know, strength is the foundation. Levi sighed faintly, and then as he raised his hand, the entire metal iron on the ground ships appeared around his body, which was the magical effect of the electromagnetic force in Thunderfruit. Let's fight. The iron filings floating in the sky condensed in Levi's hands, and finally a new long sword appeared in Levi's hands. As Levi swung his long sword, a lightning arc nearly 100 feet long swung towards Imu's body. How could this happen? Levi's pupils tightened suddenly. When his thunder was about to hit Imu, a cyan shield appeared in front of Imu. This shield isolated Levi's lightning. Levi's eyes were fixed on the shield. He could tell that Imu's current shield was the ability of the barrier fruit. The host of the barrier fruit is Bartolomeo. This guy is Levi's subordinate. Levi is very sure that this guy is alive and well. Now another barrier fruit appears, which makes Levi feel that his brain is confused. Why has the ability of a barrier fruit appeared again? Didn't it mean that the same devil fruit will not appear in the sea? Hancock also recognized the ability of the barrier fruit, Qian Wanghao, and she couldn't help being surprised. Today she felt like her worldview had been greatly impacted by this scene. Isn't your thunder the same type as Enel's thunder fruit? You can do it, so why can't I do it? Imu didn't answer Hancock directly, but brought up the example of Levi. Levi has always been an omnipotent being in Hancock's eyes. Any miracle that happened to Levi was taken for granted in Hancock's eyes. Under Levi's powerful protagonist aura, she subconsciously ignored the 2 thunder fruits. Fact. Can you tell me how you did it? Imu still hasn't thought about how Levi got the ability of Thunderfruit while he was alive. You know, the reason why he can do this is because of the accumulation of knowledge in the Uranus knowledge base for nearly 8,000 years. Chapter 238 All Devil Fruit Abilities. Don't you want to tell me? It doesn't matter. I'll know everything when I catch you. Seeing Levi's tough attitude, Imu wasn't surprised at all. Every strong man has his own arrogance. If it were so easy if he gives in, I'm afraid Imu will look down on him. That's fine. I've been lonely for too long. I hope you can bring me some fun. You know, being invincible is also a kind of sadness, Imu said with a sigh, and then pointed the sword in his hand at Levi. Momo Fruit, 100-fold increase. Following Imu's low roar, a magnificent sword energy appeared in the sky between heaven and earth. This slash was so huge, it was like a white rainbow appearing next to the sun. What a strong man this is. The moment Yim's sword energy appeared, Hawkeye, who was still rowing in the sea, suddenly raised his head. He has always been called the world's greatest swordsman. Although he doesn't care about this title, he is still very confident in his swordsmanship. He was just defeated by Levi, and now there is another swordsman who is far better than him. Existence. Eagle Eye is increasingly unable to understand this Tianhai. Is this the power of celestial dragons? At this moment, Garp and Crane 320 were standing on the same warship in shock. They were heading to Mariejois for support. After seeing Levi's monster-like strength, they were very worried about the fate of Mariejois. Although celestial dragons had many trump cards, based on Rap's understanding of the 5 elders, I'm afraid none of the 5 elders can be Levi's opponent. The slash in front of me is definitely not the slash released by Levi. In other words, Celestial Dragons has a peerless swordsman, and this person is the trump card of Celestial Dragons. This is the power of Momo fruit. Another double demon fruit power comparable to Blackbeard has appeared in this sea. No, even more pervert than Blackbeard, the devil fruit ability he possesses may be beyond Levi's imagination. Im's swordsmanship was originally the best swordsmanship in this sea. After being blessed 100 times by the Momo fruit, it became unimaginably powerful. Levi felt that his strength was already the ceiling of pirates, but when facing this blow, he also felt that his scalp was numb. This guy's strength is really too terrifying. I'm afraid Im is the one. The lucky child of this world. Levi's figure blurred for a while, and he turned into a bolt of thunder and disappeared in front of the slash. This huge slash fell towards the red line. Boom! With a huge shock, people all over the world felt a tremor. Levi looked down, and the red line, which was originally tall and endlessly wide, was cut in half by Im's sword. The red line is the strongest natural formation in the entire pirate world. After nearly 1,000 years of ocean impact, the red line has been compacted to an unimaginable level. Even the swordsman's slash can only leave a trace on the indestructible red line. There were only shallow traces, but Im's move almost split a planet in half. This kind of strength is simply the combat power of the late Dragon Ball level. Im's strength has far exceeded the upper limit of the pirate world. No wonder some people speculate that Im is a person who had immortality surgery thousands of years ago. After thousands of years of accumulation, let alone being a genius, Im is just a pig. He can also become a canopy marshal. Escape. Can you escape? An evil smile appeared on the corner of Im's mouth, and then his body was also wrapped by blue thunder and lightning. No. Levi lamented. Im actually has the ability of Thunderfruit, which is very difficult to deal with. After that, two blue rays of light continued to chase in the sky. Levi was pure blue, while Imu was constantly switching between blue and gold. Apparently, he also integrated Kizaru's sparkling fruit ability, BFDF. With the blessing of two devil fruit abilities, Im's speed far surpassed that of Levi. Levi threw Hancock far away. Now the aftermath of their battle is too powerful. Although Hancock is the one who has awakened the devil fruit ability, but facing the two gods Levi and Im, she may be torn apart in the aftermath of the battle at any time. Levi's Conqueror's Hawkeye has reached the top of the sea. It is no exaggeration to say that Levi's Hawkeye far surpasses the Pirate King Roger. Under observation Hawkeye's prediction, although Im is more than a step faster than Levi, he still couldn't catch up with Levi. Good chance. A flash of light flashed in Levi's eyes as he was escaping, and then a heavy punch with flashing lightning struck hard on the open space. Im's figure suddenly appeared here. The blow was so sudden, Im's body was instantly bent into a prawn, and he was also stunned by Levi. You have completely angered me. Im's voice was full of anger, and then another Im was split from his body. Im's hand pressed on the split Im, and the scene turned into a blood-red dandelion. As the dandelion sank into Im's body returned to its peak in an instant. Flower fruit and healing fruit, although it is unbelievable, but now it seems that this guy has indeed obtained all the devil fruit abilities. This bold guess appeared in Levi's mind. Im is the highest authority of the world government, and he still has a long lifespan. During this 1,000 years, with the help of the world government, he can obtain the devil fruit ability of the entire world. But Levi did not expect that Im how to retain the devil fruit abilities and allow these devil fruit abilities to reappear on the sea. Levi dropped the long sword in his hand, and then he turned into a bolt of lightning and appeared in front of Im, and at the same time, his fists swung towards Im like a storm. In the past few years of experience, he had brought Marine 6 styles, Murloc Karate, Bachungchuan and almost all martial arts have reached their peak state. Now his devil fruit ability is not as good as Im's. It only depends on how good Im's physical skills are. Im was confused by Levi's attack at first. He hurriedly put up the barrier of the barrier fruit, but under Levi's terrifying physical attack, his barrier exploded into pieces in an instant, and then a transparent round mask appeared on Im's body, which was the ability of the meatball fruit. Chapter 239 Retreat. Levi suddenly understood Im's intention. After all, a person's wisdom is infinite. When Im released all the devil fruit, in the past thousands of years, every devil fruit developed by amazing talents, all abilities are controlled by Im. It can be said that Im is the master of devil fruit abilities in the entire world. Im not a person, he is a living devil fruit tree. Im has not fought close to anyone for nearly 1,000 years, but he is a genius. He reacted almost instantly. His arms turned into sharp blades. At the same time, with every punch he made, there will be cracks in front of him, and he uses the ability of shock fruit to attack Levi. That's it, be stronger, Levi. Im's tone was full of excitement, as if he was a psychopath. He had been invincible for so long that his body was almost exhausted, numb. Let this battle be more intense. Im pointed his finger at the sky, and then the residents of the entire pirate world saw a strange scene. When the sun was shining high, countless stars appeared in the sky. And these stars got bigger and bigger, and finally all the stars smashed down towards Mariejois. This scene is really like the end of the world. Levi and Imu shook their fists and stamped their feet, and countless meteors exploded into rubbles all over the sky. After that, These gravels felt Im's new Minister of Rift. The gravity fruit used by Imu is much more powerful than Yishao's. It is simply a world-destroying fruit. Molin can see that Imu has developed the devil fruit ability to an unprecedented level, but his conqueror's hockey and physical skills but it is slightly inferior. Even so, Im also used countless devil fruit abilities to make up for his lack of physical skills. The entire Mariejois was like a natural disaster. All the forests burned in an instant, and then all the flames were frozen by ice. Where there is ice and fire, one can see Im's talent in developing the devil's physical abilities. As Levi and Im fought faster and faster, the devil fruit ability in Im's hands became less and less. Obviously, he also spent a lot of energy on this battle. Now Im has used Kaido's dragon fruit. This is the fruit with the strongest hand-to-hand combat, and with the blessing of the Momo fruit, Im's battle is truly unstoppable. Tear. With a crisp sound, Im's black cloak was torn apart by Levi. Looking at the slender Im, Levi also wanted to know whether he was a boy or a woman. Many comic fans speculated that Im was a woman. The results will be revealed soon. How is this possible? Levi's expression was full of surprise. After he tore off Im's cloak, the cloak turned into a dead Im, and then Im used flower fruit to separate it again. A new clone. Under Levi's surprised gaze, Im turned this clone into a black cloak, and then he actually put on the cloak. I see. Levi knows how Im became so strong. This is the combined skill of jacket fruit and flower fruit. Using jacket fruit can obtain the characteristics of the ability of the person wearing the jacket. He first used the ability of flower fruit to conjure a clone, and then he puts his own clone on his body, so that he has double his own power. After the effect of the cross-dressing fruit, the originally scary human-shaped jacket was turned into a cape. Now Levi doesn't know how many jackets Im can wear. Levi, I didn't expect you to be able to push me to this point. You are very good. Im's tone was full of praise, and then his body became blurry. The identical figure of Dao and Im appeared on Levi's body. Forward. In the blink of an eye, Levi was surrounded by 12 Imu. Levi's observation hockey carefully sensed the surroundings. He found that the auras of all the Imu were consistent, which meant that these Imu were clones and not hallucinations. This is also the first time for Molin to encounter a Mangekyo-type enemy like Im. This guy's research on devil fruit has reached the pinnacle. Molin is sure that in addition to his strong body, this guy definitely has a heart. Or more devil fruit that can restore your own strength. The abilities of these devil fruits form a strange balance, which creates Imu's invincible power. No wonder the pirates have produced so many great pirates in the past 100 years and still cannot shake the status of the Celestial Dragons unit. With Imu as a god in tier, no one can make a difference. Please give me flowers. Whitebeard is known as the strongest man in the world, but when facing Im, even Whitebeard has to kneel down. Levi, go faster, go faster. 12 Iman held long swords and kept slashing at Levi. The devil fruit abilities of these 12 people each have their own characteristics. No one is the same. This is because Levi has the most peak armament hockey in the world. Even so, he also feels that his mind is extremely tense. Im's strength can be said to have no weaknesses. 0. No, we have to find a way, otherwise we will die here. Levi's body, which can be said to be made of steel and iron, feels a little too much now. They have been fighting sleeplessly in Mariejois for a month, although Im's there slightly stronger than Levi, but at their level, if they want to kill Levi, Im will have to pay a huge price. I won't play anymore, I'll play with you next time. Levi let out a long laugh, and then he plunged into the sea. The current air may have been blocked by Im, and he can only escape underwater. Moreover, his Fishman karate has also been practiced to the strongest point, and his combat power has not been lost at all underwater. Want to escape? A flash of light flashed in Im's eyes, and then a clone plunged into the sea. Just when his body was about to touch the sea surface, the huge air cover of the black shadow surrounded him. He used the meatball fruit to compress a huge air shield around his body. After he went into the sea, he found that there was no trace of Levi in the entire sea. Since Levi escaped through the sea, his devil fruit ability could not find out where Molin escaped from. It's so naive to want to escape from my hands so easily. Im's eyes flashed, and then he pointed upward, and the bright moon hanging high in the sky began to approach the pirate world. Chapter 240. World Tsunami. What happened? Why does the boundless land seem to be approaching Qinghai? Enel was still living his emperor-like life on the moon at this time. Robots waited on him every day, which made him feel very comfortable, so since he came after arriving here, he never returned to Qinghai. Even when Levi called him, he just sent Uroge to deal with it. At this time, Enel discovered that the entire moon was slowly approaching the pirate world, and the speed was getting faster and faster. At this time, all the robots were in a mess, and the entire moon base began to collapse. Everyone, get on board as soon as possible. Enel's figure appeared on the ark's motto, and then all the robots rushed towards the ship as if they had found their backbone. Is this the hidden power of celestial dragons? Dragon stood on an unknown, 450, island. He looked at the moon slowly falling in the distance. He could not hide the shock in his heart. This kind of destruction is the power of heaven and earth really something that humans can possess. The dragon's hand was still holding Levi's life card. This card was very brand new, which meant that Levi had not been damaged in this month's war. The dragon couldn't help but re-evaluate Levi's strength. Levi actually had the strength to compete with Celestial Dragon's trump card can't help but surprise Dragon. The moon has fallen. People in the pirate world also saw this abnormality, and they all rushed to tell each other. As the moon gradually approached, countless tsunamis appeared in the entire sea. This is the gravity of the moon. The tide caused, for a time, countless islands were submerged. Levi, I asked so many people to pay for your burial, you were so proud. Imu laughed wildly. This was the second time he had done such a thing. He had done it once 100 years ago, Big Flood. At that time, the world's most powerful Fishman and Joyboy created the Ark Noah, but under Imu's plan, Joyboy left a document of apology in the forest of the Fishman Island. Later, in order to punish the Fishmen, they can only live on the bottom of the sea for the rest of their lives, and are captured as slaves from time to time. Now this is the second time. The first time was to destroy a country, but now it is to destroy an enemy. But this makes no difference to Imu, they're just ants. Boom. The moon turned into a huge fireball in the atmosphere, and two suns appeared in the sky. Then the huge moon crashed into the sea, and the whole world was shaken. Countless floods submerged the islands, and the whole world became filled with mourners. These celestial dragons are so cruel. With the global tsunami triggered by the moon, except for the red line, all other islands were submerged. No, there was one place that was not submerged, and that was Elephant Island. What happened? The residents of Elephant Island looked at the seawater that had risen to the belly of the elephant owner. This was a sea surface they had never seen before. Now that Elephant Island is like this, what about other places? I didn't expect that celestial dragons finally activated Uranus. Doflamingo stood on the white clouds, his eyes looking at Mariejois. Although he didn't know what Uranus was, only Uranus could cause such a terrifying impact. Done. Originally, the red line divided the entire world into three parts: the four seas, the Grand Line and the New World. Now, due to the impact of the moon, the entire red earth of the New World and Grand Line has also been smashed, and huge waves thousands of miles high are crashing down. On top of the red line surrounding the four seas, the current red line has become a giant dam. The floods in the entire New World are blocked from the sea, and only a small amount of floodwater can flow from the upside-down mountain to the four seas. Run away, everyone, the Fishman Island is about to collapse. Countless fishmen began to run around. Now the huge air cover outside the Fishman Island has been broken, and all the humans in the Fishman Island have been drowning. The fishman Jinbei is now directing the mermaids to move, but the fish on the sea told him that the sea level in the entire world has risen. Where should we go? Shanong was also confused. Jinbei, where is Shirahoshi now? While Jinbei was distressed, he suddenly heard Levi's voice. It's Mr. Levi. The Fishman Island is saved now. In Jinbei's eyes, Levi is a very magical person. Not only is he very strong, but his wisdom is also top-notch. He will definitely have a way to solve this problem. Times of difficulty. Shirahoshi is in the Dragon Palace. As Jinbei's voice fell, Levi's figure disappeared in front of him, and then Levi appeared in the Dragon Palace. At this time, the Dragon Palace was already in chaos. The Fishman Island King Nipusan was packing his local treasures and was obviously preparing to escape. Brother Levi, you are finally here, Shirahoshi cheered, and then she carefully placed Levi in her palm. Mr. Levi, what should we do? Nipson saw Levi arriving, as if he had seen a savior. It's time for Poseidon to take action. Levi smiled at Shirahoshi. Hey, can I really do it? Seeing everyone's eyes turn to her, Shirahoshi's face immediately turned red. She had never been expected so much. Shirahoshi, only you can save the Fishman Island and save the world now, Levi said to Shirahoshi seriously. Seeing Levi's words so solemnly, Shirahoshi's heart became calmer, and she also felt her responsibility. Then she said to Levi, Brother Levi, you tell me what I should do. Shirahoshi can definitely do it. Shirahoshi, I want you to summon all your big friends, those sea kings, the bigger the better, Levi said to Shirahoshi. Afterwards, Levi carefully taught Shirahoshi the precautions for summoning sea kings in 5.9 to 5, and Shirahoshi began to summon them. At this time, in the endless deep seabed, where there is no sunlight all year round, suddenly blood-red lights Madara appeared one after another. These are the eyes of sea kings. They are so huge, each eye is the size of an ordinary island. Now not only the sea kings near the Fishman Island, but also all the sea kings in Calm Belt have heard Shirahoshi's call, so these big guys who have been staying in Calm Belt have left Calm Belt and started to go to the Fishman Island. Rally. The sky is blocked by something. All the fish people were shocked. They found that their heads were blocked by some unimaginable large creatures that they could not see in full. These creatures were still swimming. As the lights turned on, they discovered that they were unimaginably large sea kings. Chapter 241 The world is overturned. Everyone, please go back to your home immediately. No matter what happens, don't come out. The fishmen of Fishman Street are constantly patrolling the Fishman Island. Mr. Levi, what should we do now? Jinbei asked respectfully. Now he was also frightened by these big guys. Today is the day when the Fishman Island can see the sun again. This day has finally arrived. Is this the truth of the prophecy? Destruction is also rebirth? Shiarli's eyes were full of relief. She finally knew the truth of the prophecy, and she saw it with her own eyes. Witnessed this scene. Wake it up for me. Levi let out a loud shout, and then after a huge slash, a shocking scene appeared. Levi actually lifted this huge island with one person's strength. What a terrifying physique. Jinbei looked at Levi with wonder in his eyes. The legend of Oz on Yunshima has always been circulated in this world, but Oz is a huge demon, and Oz the size of the island we moved was far worse than the Fishman Island. Now this scene is extremely visually impactful. A man smaller than an ant actually lifted a huge island. Let's go. With Levi's loud shout, the huge island was thrown onto the huge Sea Kings, and then the Sea Kings floated to the surface of the sea carrying the Fishman Island. There are countless huge ropes tied behind these Sea Kings, and a large ship is pulled on the rope, which is the Ark Noah. Although Noah has sunk at the bottom of the sea for more than 100 years, it is now time to fulfill its mission. It's time. Is this the world above the sea? It's so beautiful. Countless beautiful fish people were chatting. Because of the raging pirates, many of them had never been on the ground in their lives. Later, they set sail on the Gulland. After that, the fish people took advantage of the opportunity of working as waiters and came to the sea. Mr. Levi, what should we do next? Jinbei asked in awe. This man is really terrifying. He has a way to deal with such horrific natural disasters. This is because he doesn't know that this natural disaster is caused by Levi. Otherwise, he would be even more surprised. First go to the Gulland to join Tetsolo, and then head to the Four Seas. Levi sensed it for a moment, and then he pointed in a direction, and the large army of the Fishman Island began to move towards Tesoros Gold in a mighty manner. Go by boat. Judge, Green Pepper, Eric, Capone Beeg, Hiyori, Dragon, the final battle has begun. Levi's phone bug hit all of them. Levi had long been ready to break with the Celestial Dragons, and now is the time. East Blue is known as the weakest sea. Under Eric's operation, in East Blue now, Eric's Union is the largest force in the entire East Blue. He can even compete with the Seidel Union, which is known as the first union in the pirate world. But for so many years, his headquarters has always been in East Blue and has not moved. Kuina, you go to Shimotsuki village to meet your father, and you will carry out the raid on East Blue as planned. Barolomeo, you and I are sweeping the other way. Following Eric's order, countless mechanical maids emerged from the underground of Eric's Union. These are all pacifists based on Vegapunk by Baby 5. Research recruiters, these robots are designed to deal with big pirates with a bounty of over 100 million. Under the sweep of these robots, the entire East Blue was defeated by Eric's Union. And after so many years of development, the Revolutionary Army has already penetrated into various countries in the East Blue. Often these guys surrender before Eric's Union attacks. In just 3 days, the entire East Blue has become Levi's territory. Eric's speed is not slow, but compared with Capone Beeg, it is still far behind. Levi is also the first to see Capone Beeg's commanding art. With a call from Capone Beeg, gunshots continue to ring out throughout West Blue. People from various countries in West Blue, the important officials were killed almost at the same time. After that, under his command, all the governments of West Blue were accepted by the Mafia. The entire West Blue changed its flag within an hour and became Levi's command. Compared with them, Xingjiao and Lao Kai's methods are much weaker. Although the Babao Navy is the strongest force in the entire West Blue, they rely on each country for their expeditions. Fortunately, this is the former base camp of the Revolutionary Army. The main offensive task here is still completed by the Revolutionary Army. Ever since the Doflamingo family left North Blue, the Germa 66 family has been the uncrowned king of North Blue. The reason is that the world government has strict orders not to allow the Germa kingdom to enter the territory of other countries. Now all this has finally been broken. With the Underjudge's order, all the countries and pirates in North Blue discovered something. The entire North Blue was full of Germa's clone soldiers. No one knew that with the terrifying financial support of Tezolo, what kind of monster has grown in North Blue. Judge's mission is not only to deal with the North Blue country, he also has another mission, that is, he commands his clone soldiers to have a decisive battle with Marine's large army. This is a large army that can only fight hard against the Marine large army. North Blue's clone soldiers are only a small part of what Judge has cultivated over the years. In fact, the largest breeding base is in Wanokuni. However, Wanokuni has always been closed to the country. The world government did not care enough about Wanokuni. None of them discovered the conspiracy between Judge and Hiyori. This is only a small part of the strength that Levi has cultivated over the years. In the Amazon, countless female warriors have prepared canoes to float on the sea. Now that there are no Sea Kings in the Calm Belt, there is no obstacle to their progress. These people are all excellent shooters, and each of them practices armament hockey. Their strength is very strong. They are the sniper army prepared by Levi. Wanokuni. At this time countless swordsmen have boarded the snail boat. Wanakuna's terrain is relatively high. Even so, more than half of Wanakuna's land has been submerged by seawater. Now countless swordsmen are preparing to launch an attack on the world government. Revenge. Wanokuni has always been a non-world government member country. Unlike other countries that are still surviving, Wanokuni defeated the world government coalition with the swords of their swordsmen and protected the peace of Wanokuni. Now that the Celestial Dragons actually destroyed Wanokuni, then the Celestial Dragons are their enemies. They want revenge. The Drum Kingdom is so powerful. They have long since transformed the entire island into a huge warship. When the seawater comes, the entire Drum Kingdom floats on the sea. This great flood has no impact on the Drum Kingdom. Cause the slightest harm. This is Ji-Wei's army of doctors. Chapter 242 New Mission. Mr. Levi is really clever. When Levi and others arrived at the Gulland, Dorag had already appeared here. Levi also admired the intelligence network of the Revolutionary Army. These guys can be said to be pervasive. Levi rushed to the Fishman Island non-stop, and then headed for the Gulland. However, Dorag had actually obtained the information, and is compared with the revolutionary cause. His intelligence ability is obviously superior. If Dolag concentrates on intelligence, I am afraid there will be nothing to do with the CP agency. Long time no see, Levi boy. Behind Dolag, a huge purple fluffy head poked out. It was the human demon Ivankov. After escorting Luffy away, he joined Dolag. After that, he asked whether he saw Levi. It was a pity to fight the Marine Senior Management in Marineford Square. After all, everyone thought Levi was dead. They didn't expect Levi to be so fierce. Not only he cut down all the Marine Senior Management, but also forced the Tendo Rag people to reveal their trump cards. How did you know I was here? Levi asked curiously. He didn't think there would be a spy who could hide this from his eyes and ears. This is the devil fruit ability of a captain of our Revolutionary Army, Ivankov said, pointing to several crows hovering in the sky. Only then did Levi understand. It turned out to be the demon fruit power called Crow. This guy's ability could create countless crows. He was indeed a good detective. The targets of Levi and others were so big that it was difficult not to notice them. Boss, long time no see, Tetsolo greeted him excitedly. Since he built the Gulland, he has been very busy every day. This is the first time they have met after they parted. You have done very well in the past few years, Tetsolo, Levi said to him. Back then, Levi promised Tetsolo two things. One was to make Tetsolo rich enough to make him truly rich. Man. The second thing is to kill the celestial dragons who abused Stella. Now both of Tetsolo's wishes have been fulfilled. Levi, you haven't changed at all, you're still so handsome. Monet looked at Levi longingly, which made Levi feel very uncomfortable. Monet knew what he was thinking about Levi. It's just that he has been too busy in the past few years and ignored Monet. He thought that Monet would find his true love, but he didn't expect that Monet would remain unmarried for so many years. How can there be such a big young lady? Sutang's head emerged from the corner of Monet's skirt, and then she looked at Shirahoshi in surprise. Hello, my name is Shirahoshi, Yuxing said to Granu while lying on the side of Gulandashan's boat. Yuhoshi's body is so huge that not even Ichilan's string can fully accommodate her. It seems like someone is coming. While everyone was chatting, Dorag's eyes suddenly looked into the distance. He felt that there was a very powerful aura coming here. Don't be nervous, it's Enel here. Levi sensed Enel's position earlier than Dorag. At this time, Enel's motto was filled with robots on the moon. Now all the robots have been brought down by him. At this moment, all the first original members of the Levi pirates have arrived. Dorag, Tezolo, let's hold a combat meeting. Under the leadership of Tezolo, Levi and others walked towards the interior of the Gulland. At this time, the originally bustling Gulland became quiet. Rows of straight soldiers in black suits stood on the left and right, with no end in sight. I didn't expect Mr. Levi to have so many soldiers stationed on this big ship. Dorag originally thought that the Gulland was just Levi's cornucopia, but he didn't expect that he would prepare so many soldiers silently. Obviously, he had already prepared it. I am ready to break with the world government. Okay, let me tell you about the current strategic deployment. Now we have captured the east, west, north, south and south. Although there are still sporadic government forces resisting, they can't make any waves, and Grand Line and New World. Levi said, and a huge projection map appeared behind him. Now the Grand Line and the New World have been integrated into one, and due to the tsunami, almost all the islands of the Grand Line and the New World have been submerged. That is to say, there is only one enemy left for us, the celestial dragons on Mariejois and the remaining troops of Marine. After Levi's explanation, everyone present was breathing heavily. They did not expect that they could participate in such a great cause, which is to change the dynasty. Just like what the world government did 800 years ago, now the old order will soon be overthrown and a new order will be established. W. Ding. Please host go to Raftel to sign in. The reward. Zhanzhan card. Can copy all devil fruit abilities for your own use. At this time, the system that had been dormant for decades reappeared, and Levi was also surprised. He thought his system had crashed long ago. Now our most important task is to find out what the husband is. Levi still feels a shadow towards Uranus. This is what his observation Hawkeye told him. Although Uranus is not functioning yet, he can feel that Skynet has the power to kill him. Suddenly, the expressions of Levi and Dolag changed drastically. They both felt a life and death crisis, but they did not feel where this threat came from. Get out of here! Levi thought of something, and he immediately shouted at Tetsolo and others. Boom! When Levi just ran out of the Gulland, a huge sea current pushed it into the sky. This was the first time Levi saw a sea as thick as an island leading straight to Tianjung. The magnetic field is completely messed up. At this moment, Koala shouted, and the pointer on her wrist kept spinning like a top. Although the magnetic field in New World is unpredictable, this is the first time for Koala to have such a situation. See. This should be Uranus's masterpiece. Unexpectedly, Uranus can also disrupt the magnetic field. Now we can't even identify the direction, let alone find Raftel. Dorag's brows also frowned. What's going on now? It became very difficult. The place where the Gulland was originally located turned into a huge mountain comparable to the upside-down mountain out of thin air. This shows that Uranus has the ability to change the terrain. It doesn't matter, I have a way. At this moment, a mysterious smile appeared on Levi's lips. Chapter 243 Elephant Master and Zephyr. Levi's words immediately attracted everyone's attention. Now they are all frightened by the terrifying power of Uranus. If they can't deal with Uranus now, I'm afraid no matter how many people there are, they won't be able to cause harm to the celestial dragons. Then what should we do? Even the dragon was stumped. He couldn't think of how they could find Raftel except relying on pointer navigation. Could it be that they had to rely on a group of people to find it in a haystack? This is a secret. I'll tell you when we get to the approximate location. Levi gave Dorag a pass. Mr. Levi, what do you want from me? Robin is still in the Kingdom of Bridges, preparing to rescue these suffering people. Before he takes action, she is rescued by Eric. This is Levi's first time. Looking for her, she didn't know what Levi was going to do. Do you know what this is? Levi pointed forward, and several red boulders appeared in front of Robin. Is this the text of history? Robin looked a little moved. After the destruction of West Blue O'Hara, Robin may be the last person in the world who can understand these texts. Levi also asked Kazuki Hiyori, who told him that the inheritance of historical texts had been lost in his father's generation, which made Levi feel very sorry. I know you have been pursuing the historical truth for hundreds of years. Let's cooperate. Now all the answers are in Raftel. As long as we get there, we can crack the secrets of this world. Levi faced Robin said, Levi and Robin have the same purpose. They both want to uncover the truth of the world, and Levi wants to know what the truth is that the celestial dragons have tried so hard to cover up. Okay, deal? Robin smiled, and the entire hall lit up. Levi now has 2 pieces of the 4 historical texts in his hands. He remembers that one of them is on Zo Island. Zo is a giant walking elephant. With the help of the Fishman tribe's massive swimming fish, Levi and others quickly determined the elephant lord's position. What kind of creature is this? It's so huge. Shirahoshi's eyes were full of amazement. This was the first time she saw this kind of creature. The water in the deep sea actually only covered the calf of this giant beast. Once this giant beast shows its power, the whole world may be in turmoil. This giant beast is the elephant owner. Legend has it that he made a mistake and his owner ordered it to walk on the sea. BFFF, all the time. Now he has been walking for thousands of years, and his lifespan is comparable to a piece of history. Levi explained to Shirahoshi. After that, several people flew towards the elephant owner's back. Who? When Levi and others arrived behind the elephant master, Levi heard a loud shout from the forest, and then a sword shadow came towards Levi. Get out of the way, brother Levi. Shirahoshi looked at the sword shadow, and she was so anxious that she almost shed tears. Long time no see, Pedro. Unexpectedly, not only did Levi not avoid him, he also greeted the figure with a smile, and Long then put down his hand. Mr. Levi? Pedro then saw clearly that it was Levi coming over. It's Pedro. Monet and Tetsolo also laughed. They had both seen Pedro in Wangwo, and they also admired Pedro for taking the initiative to exchange one of his eyes for his own life. Here you go, Mr. Levi. With the jaguar leading the team, Levi and his group easily crossed the forest and met the cat Viper and the dog Duke. What are you doing here? Cat Viper asked. This guy was a fat man with a pipe in his mouth. He looked like a gangster. I came here to read the historical text. Now that the celestial dragons are going to destroy the world, I want to know the truth about this world. Levi explained to the cat Viper. What? It turns out that the sea level was caused by the celestial dragons. Only then did they understand why the moon fell down some time ago, but the sea level suddenly rose. Brother, the dawn of a new era has finally arrived, and it is Mr. Levi, Pedro shouted excitedly. After he heard Levi's story, he regarded Levi as the dawn of the world. He is the successor to One Piece, the most promising pirate after Roger to change the world. Brother Pedro, who are these people? At this moment, a smaller figure jumped over. She was Charlotte. When Levi first traveled through time, he planned to let this little girl be his lookout. Unexpectedly, he traveled too early in the timeline, so he gave up the idea. After that, the group of people walked towards the place where the historical text was stored. When they learned that Levi and others came from the sea, the little girl kept pulling Levi to ask questions, like a curious baby. This little girl has been there since he has been living here since birth, so it's no wonder he is curious about the outside world. After Robin read the historical text, 3 of the 4 historical text road signs were already in Levi's possession, leaving only the one in Charlotte Linland's hand. Brother, what's wrong? There are many ships from unknown forces appearing in front of the Elephant Lord. When Levi and others were preparing to leave, a fur tribe said to Cat Viper and others. It turns out to be Zephyr. Levi laughed. Recently, all his old friends in the sea have come out. Now Zephyr's arms have been replaced by Seastone arms, and his ships are all black, even his subordinates. It's a man in a black uniform. It's obvious that Zephyr has broken with Marine. Long time no see, Zephyr. When Zephyr was lost in thought, Levi's voice suddenly appeared in front of him. Levi, why are you? Zephyr was shocked. He didn't expect to meet Levi. He heard that Levi was fighting against celestial dragons, and he had already revealed the celestial dragon's trump card, I am. After that, Levi and I am fought for a month, and the entire red line was completely reduced to ruins. In the end, water flooded the world, the moon fell, the magnetic field was disrupted, and the world was in chaos. These were all the sequelae of that war. Because of the magnetic field disorder, Zephyr and others came here because they got lost. Zephyr's original purpose was explosive rock. He wanted to completely destroy the entire New World's magnetic field and kill all the pirates in the entire New World. Unexpectedly, his magnetic field before it was destroyed, the world's magnetic field was already in chaos. Chapter 244 The embarrassed Doflamingo. Afterwards, Levi told him in detail what happened in the later stages of the Summit War. Zephyr also looked at Levi with a strange look. Although Levi was his savior, he destroyed the entire naval headquarters, even Marine Marshal Sengoku and 3 admirals died in his hands. In a sense, it was Levi who caused all this chaos to happen, but can Levi really be blamed for all this? Zephyr asked himself. All this happened because of the Sky People, and after listening to Levi's story, Zephyr was also shocked by the Celestial Dragon's trump card. He had to admit that Levi was the one who was truly qualified to challenge I am. Zephyr, please tell me your choice, whether to be my comrade or my enemy. Levi asked, looking directly into Zephyr's eyes. Teacher. Ain looked at her teacher with worry. She knew that the teacher was in trouble. His purpose of establishing New Marine was to eliminate pirates. He did not want to overthrow the rule of the world government and change the flag and actions of New Marine. As you can see, although Zephyr hates Marine, his flag and army are set up according to Marine's rules. What happens if I refuse? Zephyr asked harshly. Then you are my enemy, my mortal enemy. The war is about to begin, and I will not leave any hidden dangers. Levi's answer was straightforward, and Zephyr would die if he disagreed. Then I'll join, Zephyr said with difficulty. Although he didn't want to join Levi, the current situation was obvious. If he didn't join, Levi would wipe out all the new Marines, and these people would follow him and betray Marine. Zephyr don't want them to die here. Teacher, we have discovered Doflamingo's ship, please give us instructions. At this moment, Zephyr's phone rang, and it was another of his disciples calling. Oh, Doflamingo has appeared, it's really getting more and more lively now. What is he doing here? Zephyr asked curiously. Doflamingo is the king of Dressrosa. Although it is flooded now, there is still some land that is not flooded. It is a perfect location. Zephyr also wanted to I don't understand how he could go to sea at this time. Teacher, he did not come alone. He is now fighting with others. The leader is Luo from the extremely evil era. I also saw other pirates. It seems that the pirates from the new era are here, Ben Purple reported. Luo, are you hunting Doflamingo? Levi called Luo directly to ask. Yes, now Doflamingo is going back to be a celestial dragons. This is my hottest opportunity for revenge. I must seize it. Luo's tone was full of hatred. Only then did Levi understand why Luo and the others did not respond to his call-up order. It turned out that they were here to fight Doflamingo. Levi knew that Doflamingo was a descendant of the Celestial Dragons, but Doflamingo went to Mariejois several times and the Celestial Dragons did not allow him to join the Celestial Dragons. Now he is asked to return to the Celestial Dragons, which means that there is no one in the Celestial Dragons. Let me go take a look. Levi disappeared after saying this. Dover, there are many Sea Kings in front of us. Have we broken into the Sea King's lair? Torbil asked. In front of him, there were countless Sea Kings. These were the guards guarding Poseidon Shirahoshi. Now scared Doflamingo. What on earth is going on? Doflamingo is about to go berserk. First there was a tsunami, and then there was magnetic field disorder. Now their pointers are completely useless, and the navigator has become a complete decoration. Doflamingo was originally heading towards the Holy Land Mariejois. When he set out, he met Luo who came to attack him on the sea. So a big battle broke out between the two sides, and they came to Elephant Island during the chase, which showed that their direction was in the opposite direction. It's really damned, Luo. Doflamingo hammered the boat hard. He originally wanted to keep Luo to perform immortality surgery for him, but he didn't expect that it was a disaster. After Luo was cut off by Levi, his growth rate is far beyond Doflamingo's imagination, and now he can no longer fight. Although he felt aggrieved, it was a fact. He could only escape for his life and embarrassment on the sea. Luo's large fleet was much more numerous than the Doflamingo family's ships. They formed a huge fan shape and faced Doflamingo closely. Reluctant to give up, he never had the chance to return to Mariejois. Please give me flowers, damn it, I have to contact Kaido. Doflamingo dislikes Kaido very much, because Kaido doesn't follow the spirit of contract at all. He will turn over the table at any time, and Doflamingo is the weak one, and he has nothing to do with Kaido. Kaido, I am JPCKER. I am here on Elephant Island. I have a small problem here. Doflamingo then told Kaido about the matter in detail, and he didn't know what would happen if there was no pointer. Can you find Kaido here? Good job, Dove. I originally wanted to go find Kaido, but now it seems there's no need. After Doflamingo hung up the phone, these 10 familiar voices came softly from behind him. When this voice sounded, Doflamingo's body became stiff in an instant, and he turned his head mechanically. When he saw Levi, he gave up completely. I didn't expect that Mr. Levi would find a little person like me. Doflamingo knows that there is no way he can survive today. Luo and the others can still fight, but for Levi, only by being killed by the neck can he die a more dignified death. Doflamingo's spy took a picture of Levi and Mariejois. Doflamingo knows who Levi is. No matter how powerful he is, even Kaido can't save him. I can redeem myself. I know the secret of Uranus. Flamenco laughed. This was his biggest trump card. He didn't believe that Levi was not interested in this secret. You are not kind. I almost guessed the answer to the riddle before you told me the answer. I don't accept your condition. Levi said slowly. Doflamingo left Mariejois when he was a child, and Uranus is the top secret of the celestial dragons. Levi does not believe that someone of his level can know the truth about Uranus. Suffer death, Doflamingo. I want to avenge Corazon. At this moment, Luo led the New Era pirates to attack Lu. Chapter 245, the fourth historical text. Dover, your death has come. The ghost cry in Luo's hand went directly towards Doflamingo. When they started, Levi's fist killed all Doflamingo's subordinates with one blow. In the blink of an eye, Luo became a real loner. This is Luo's battle, don't help him. Seeing that Tetsolo and others were about to swarm forward, Levi stopped them. Now Luo's strength is not inferior to Doflamingo in any way, and it is his wish to be able to defeat Doflamingo with his own hands. Under the witness of Levi, Luo began his revenge. Now Luo's op fruit has awakened. It is no exaggeration to say that Luo's fruit is too buggy. Although Doflamingo has developed string fruit to the stage of awakening, but in front of the elusive Luo, his awakening had no 5, 6, 7 effect. Doflamingo, do you only have this little strength? If so, you can die? Luo's ghost cry pointed at Doflamingo, looking at the destitute man in front of him. His eyes were in a trance, and unknowingly, he has grown to this point. Damn it, do you really want to defeat me? A surging conqueror's haki enveloped Luo. Luo felt as if he was wearing a layer of shackles, and that was all he could do at that time. Doflamingo's conqueror's haki is nothing compared to Levi. After Luo suffered the damage from Levi, he has long been immune to conqueror's haki. Wounds appeared one after another on Doflamingo's body, but he was helpless against Luo. Has this kid actually grown to this point? Doflamingo's hands were tinkering with his abdomen. His body was already covered with scars. He was currently operating on himself with string fruit, and his internal organs were broken. If not dealt with, she will die here. That's it, Doflamingo. Luo's ghost cry was lifted up, and then his eyes were fixed on Doflamingo. While Doflamingo was still wondering, he suddenly found that the ghost cry had penetrated his body. Boom! Doflamingo's body fell to the ground, and even his glasses fell off. Mr. Corazon, I finally avenged you. Luo's eyes flashed back to the time when he was 13 years old and in the Doflamingo family. At that time, everyone looked down upon him and only Corazon was his friend. Later, in order to find the op fruit that could cure his disease, Corazon gave his life to Doflamingo. After that, Luo spent all his time in hatred, but now he finally breathed a sigh of relief. Thank you, Captain Levi. Luo bowed deeply to Levi. Without Levi, he would not have defeated Doflamingo so easily. Okay, it's all over. It's time for us to set off to find new clues to the historical text. Levi glanced at Doflamingo, who was covered in blood. His body was covered with knife marks. Unless some miracle happened, Doflamingo would die. Deal. For an ambitious person like you, the best destination is to be buried in the sea. Levi kicked Doflamingo into the sea with one kick. He also admitted that Doflamingo was a hero, but his strength was just a little bit behind. The historical text of the fourth piece is in Charlotte Linland's Among the Nations. Levi had also seen the historical text of Charlotte Linland, but at that time his ambition was not to find the historical text, so he did not rub the historical text. Charlotte Linland's 10,000 Kingdoms was also washed away by the flood. The big ship of Levi and others headed toward 10,000 Kingdoms under the tug of the Sea Kings. Although the magnetic field in the sea was disordered, there were too many fish in the sea, and the Fishman had with the ability to communicate with fish. The fish became the navigators of Levi and others. Under the guidance of the fish, Levi saw a fleet of ships far away. This fleet is extremely large in number, and it is led by a very strange ship. That ship can actually sing. It is Charlotte Linland's ship. Long time no see, Charlotte Linland. Levi's figure appeared on Auntie's boat. At this time, Charlotte Linland was still eating a piece of cake. Seeing Levi's arrival, she directly pushed the huge piece of cake to Levi and said, "This the cake was made by Bree's fiancé, it's very delicious?" Seeing the satisfied look on Charlotte Linland's face, Levi couldn't help but feel a little funny. This guy's character looked like that of a child, and wasn't Bree's husband Sanji? Sanji, why are you here? Levi asked curiously. According to the original plot, Germa 66 brought back the useless Sanji in order to get on Big Mom's boat. Now Germa belongs to him. Under his command, Levi could not imagine why Sanji would appear here. I was flown here by a bear, and then I met the beautiful and kind-hearted Miss Bree, and I have stayed here since then. Sanji said shyly. Levi couldn't help but be surprised by the powerful inertia of this world. He had changed the timeline so much. It was incredible that some small events could be connected together by some kind of coincidence. Charlotte Linlin, I'm here for the historical text, hand it over, Levi said to Charlotte Linlin with a smile. The former Charlotte Linlin was no match for him, and after more than 10 years of hard training, the current Chonglot Linlin was no longer his match. Charlotte Linlin's eyes were cloudy for a while, and the atmosphere on the entire flagship suddenly dropped to freezing point. Katakuri and others had quietly held weapons in their hands. Although they were not Levi's opponents, no one in the Charlotte family was afraid. Dead people. 3.5 Looking at Levi in front of her, Charlotte Linlin recalled the scene when Roger, the Pirate King, broke in to read the historical text when All Nations was first established. At that time, she was as powerless as she is now. He could not even compare to the strength of Roger, the Pirate King. But he couldn't understand Levi's strength at all. Okay, I'll do it. Charlotte Linlin gritted her teeth, and with a terrifying sound, the text of history hit Levi's head hard. She was using this blow to vent her anger, but there was no trace of it. For eggs. Levi's hand gently pushed on the historical text, and the historical text stopped in front of Levi. Now that the last piece of historical text is in Levi's hands, he can go to Raftel. Chapter 246 The Truth About the Pirate World. Is this the truth about Raftel? Looking at the huge rocks in front of him, Robin's face was filled with shock. No, this is the truth of this world. Levi's eyes couldn't hide the shock. It turned out that Uranus was the origin of this world. After getting the last piece of historical text, Shirahoshi commanded the huge sea kings to search in the last sea area, and finally found Raftel. I have to say that this is a very magical place. There is no trace on this island of magnetism, so Uranus cannot sense it. Here is the origin of this world. There were no humans in this world originally. After the arrival of Uranus, in order to better complete the exploration of this world, these explorers began to create a large number of clones, so the giants, dwarves, long-handed people, various strange races such as the tribe, the Longfoot tribe and the Fur tribe appeared in this qualified world. It not only records the changes of the world, but also records the 15 origins of devil fruit. Devil fruit is also a kind of genetic technology, on the planet of Uranus Aborigines. Devil fruit is also known as the seed of gene chain evolution. It edits the gene fragments of human evolution through fixed procedures, allowing humans to easily master various incredible abilities. This is devil fruit, but Levi doesn't know how devil fruit appears in the world, above the sea. With the transformation of Uranus, the whole world began to become prosperous. It is said that wherever there are people, there will be disputes. Soon people in this world started various wars for hegemony. As the wars began, countries appeared one after another, above this world. Within 800 years of the emergence of this world, an unparalleled and powerful country appeared in this world that ruled the world. The rulers of this country had a common characteristic, that is, they all had names in their names. There is A. D. One day, a man named Im took control of the entire devil fruit manufacturing tree. Through this tree, he gained unparalleled combat power. After that, he occupied Uranus, and then launched a great cleansing of the entire world. What Raftel recorded came to an abrupt end here. Levi looked at the time recorded on the stone tablet. This was 100 years ago. This is the mystery of the 100 years of blankness in this world. In the description here, the war did not last for 100 years, but lasted for hundreds of years. During these hundreds of years, huge pieces of land were sunk, and the world became of the shape of an island, and the Ark Noah that Joyboy talked about with the mermaid princess was also the product of the world's first tsunami. In order to fight against the rule of Uranus, the entire D clan began to study ways to restrain Uranus and demon fruit power. Later, physical skills, swordsmanship and hockey appeared on this sea, and the clan also had the strength to compete with Im. Although the D family has biological weapons that can summon giant sea creatures to fight in the Pluton battleship that can sink islands with one shot, when Uranus shows off his power, the power of Poseidon and Pluton is so insignificant. In this account, Uranus can not only mobilize the weather of the entire world, but can even change the landscape of the entire world. This world first experienced a tsunami that submerged the entire world. The D family studied Pluton and escaped the disaster. The Fishman family who created Pluton and Noah were deceived by Im and they became all human beings. Sinners of the world. This was just the beginning. When the ocean flooded the world, the D family transformed the entire Raftel so that it could float and sink with the water. After that, an ice age appeared across the world, and everything in the ocean they were all sealed under the ice. In order to obtain enough energy, the D family modified the genes of the giant family and gave birth to the demon family. This family's body is several times larger than that of the giant family, and they are not afraid of the cold. The demons carry the D clan one by one and walk on the ice around the world. This is also what Oz said. With the lack of energy, some people fled to the uninhabited moon, while others continued their struggle with Im. In the end, each Oz fell in the ice because they could not obtain enough energy, and the D family was gradually extinct. During this period, they finally extracted an ability to restrain themselves from seawater. They named this thing Seastone. This was the first time they had developed something that could target devil fruit. However, Seastone must be in contact with people with abilities. After years of development, they were able to make this kind of fog appear on the entire sea. In this fog, any demon fruit power lost its ability. This laboratory is the Mist Island of New World. There is also a conjecture recorded here that can completely disable Devil Fruit's ability, but it disappeared when the text was recorded here. Cross-country means that IM finally wiped them all out. After that, IM launched a great cleansing of the world. People in the entire world completely lost that 100 years of history. Under the rule of the celestial dragons, people in the entire pirate world were in dire straits. Countless desperate people became pirates. In order to deal with these thugs, Marine established. So the journey of Marine and pirates falling in love and killing each other began on this sea. After nearly 100 years of development, the entire pirate industry has been ruled by a pirate named Rox. He is called the Admiral by all pirates. Even Whitebeard, Golden Lion, Big Mom, and Kaido are all members of the Rox Pirate. Rox Pirate, even a violent group that can fight naval headquarters. After the Battle of the Valley of the Gods, the originally powerful Rox Pirate disappeared, and Roger took advantage of the situation to rise. In the Battle of Adwal, Roger defeated the Golden Lion and became the strongest pirate. Afterwards, Roger conquered the Grand Line. He was also the first to know the so-called 100 years of blank history. After some weighing, he decided to let future generations know the secret of Raftel. This made Roger voluntarily during the arrest. One Piece was shouted during the execution in East Blue Log Town, thus starting the Age of Discovery. This is the truth of the entire world. Finale tomorrow. Chapter 247 Finale, Complete Scattered Flowers. No wonder Roger wants to use his life to open a new era. It turns out that the truth of this world is so shocking. Levi was also filled with emotion. No wonder Roger wanted to risk his own life. This situation is not something that ordinary people can solve. Is this the truth of the world? Robin was also sighing. This is what Ohara is pursuing even at the risk of the lives of all the scholars. As the last scholar of Ohara, she finally unlocked the truth of the world. Dolog, our final battle has begun. Levi said to Dolog seriously. This is the most powerful battle in the history of pirates. I am afraid that the entire world will be destroyed in this battle. Compared with the upcoming war, any battle that takes place on this sea is child's play. At this time, the whole world has been occupied by Levi's men. The next step is the final decisive battle with world government. Among the high-level combat forces of world government, in addition to IM and 5 elders, there are also Garp and Kong, and on Levi's side, the only people who can achieve this kind of combat power are Levi, Dorag and Charlotte Linlin, and his power is still very weak. Originally, Levi wanted to kill Kaido, but now it seems that Kaido cannot die. With the help of Sea Kings, Levi finally found Kaido. After hearing about such a terrible battle, Kaido suddenly became excited. He had long forgotten the death of Doflamingo. This guy was only thinking about muscles. The guy was already excited. Under the leadership of Levi, the group headed towards Mariejois. Surrounded by countless Sea Kings, the Fishman Island has become the base camp of the Alliance. Countless Sea Kings are wandering in all directions. Although the magnetic field is now disordered, the eyes cannot deceive. Countless Sea Kings form a long waterways, flesh and blood waterways were thus formed. With the help of these channels, Levi's men began to gather. To his surprise, the royal family of Alabasta, the Vivi family, all came to defect to Levi, and he actually completely broke with the world government. Mr. Levi. Mr. Levi. Mr. Levi. After a month of waiting, soldiers from all over the world have arrived. Under the cover of the swordsmen of Wanokuni and the shooters of Nine Snake Island, hundreds of thousands of troops stepped on the ladders built by the Sea Kings and launched an attack on the entire Holy Land. Attack. After Levi's last battle, the entire Mariejois has been reduced to ruins, and there are countless marines patrolling above the ruins. Although IM controlled Uranus all the way to prevent Levi and others from coming here, Levi and others still pushed all the way over, and the whole world ushered in the climax of the battle. Levi, you still dared to show up. I admire your courage. IM appeared in front of Levi. He originally thought that Levi would not come back for a short time after escaping, but he did not expect that he would appear in front of him so soon, in front of. Levi looked at IM in front of him and said, IM, I have found a way to restrain you in Raftel, you will definitely lose. IM laughed and said, you are talking about the kind of seastone powder that can completely make people with abilities lose their abilities. I know that the D family has developed something to restrain people with abilities, but if this thing wants to work, it must let these powders spread all over the world from high altitude, and now that Uranus is in my hands, what are you going to do? Want to take a look? Levi smiled mysteriously at IM, and then he took out a phone bug. As he pressed his finger, the whole earth began to shake. Mariejois belonged to the top of the world, so they could clearly understand. I saw that the entire new world was full of fire. Explosive rock, Zephyr has also joined you. IM gritted his teeth. This movement was obviously a volcano explosion. If you want all volcanoes to explode at the same time, only Dynamite Rock can do it, and the warehouse of Dynamite Rock is top secret in Marine. Only the top management of Marine know that only Zephyr can do this kind of thing. Now the entire new world's volcanoes are erupting, and boundless dark clouds are beginning to shroud the world. Layers of black mist like powder are floating in the wind. As these powders float, even IM feels a little sluggish in his body. This shows that the powder has begun to drift around the world. Dorag, do you really want to exterminate the world government? Garp looked at his son with a complicated expression. Now the only remaining Marines among the Marines are all here, and now all other places are deserted. Father, does world government still exist now? Dorag asked. After Im's appearance, the entire world has been destroyed and there are no people left. What is the meaning of the government's existence? Thunder 8 trigrams. Kaido couldn't bear it any longer, and hit Im directly with the mace in his hand. Boom. Im didn't move at all. Kaido's figure flew away at the sound, and I don't know what devil fruit ability Im used. Kaido's actions were like the fuse of the war. When he flew away, everyone started a war at the same time. Levi's large fleet and Dorag's revolutionary army fought with the Marine and world government forces. After the influence of these powders, all demon fruit powers gradually became ineffective. In the end, it evolved into a duel of physical skills. Garp became the leader of Marine. This guy is worthy of being known as the hero of Marine. With his pair of iron fists next, every pirate was blown away. You are so arrogant. At this time, Im has been treated as a sandbag. Levi keeps attacking him. Now Im's devil fruit ability can no longer be used. He is no longer G-Way's rival. Damn it, if Vegapunk and the bear hadn't destroyed Uranus, all of you would have died. The 5 elders holding the sword yelled unwillingly. Now his body was covered with blood and he looked extremely miserable. Only then did Levi realize that it was no wonder that Yim never used the ability to change the terrain on them during their journey. Good Jiao Jiao. It turned out that Uranus was broken. Because all demon fruit powers have failed, no one is Levi's opponent now. After he killed Im, the 5 elders were also killed. Kong and Garp were not bad guys, so Levi spared their lives. Here Big Mom and Kaido were also killed in the battle, and the whole world was completely free of hidden dangers. Honey, where are we going? On a spaceship, Hancock snuggled into Levi's arms and asked. In the past few years, Dorag and others have almost restored this world, and Levi has also traveled around the world. Our journey is to the stars and the sea. Levi looked to the sky. Now he has copied many of Devil Fruit's abilities. He is invincible in this world. He knows that there are space pirates in this world, and he wants to see this. What it looks like in the starry sky of the world. As the spaceship turned into a white dot on the horizon, Levi also completely left this world.